Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the copy? Right foot down. We got to go, player. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your hand in it. Holy oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. Miss your pace. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Look great. Ridiculous, dude. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. Two times, baby. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah.
Hello. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hey.
We are live right now with the NASCAR Weekly Podcast after a eventful and uneventful all at once weekend at North Wilkesboro. A ton of stuff to talk about that's come through the week. And then, you know, the greatest day in motorsports where you got the Netflix series, a great race in the afternoon, and rain at night.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch the Netflix series.
Don't oversell it there, Jared.
yeah, man. We're going to see a fantastic battle for 8th place on Sunday.
Well, hey, let's not forget with the rain at night, that gives us a chance to actually make up for no post-race coverage and have hours and hours and hours of interviews. So
yeah, exactly.
I've got to make sure my Netflix subscription is up to date before Sunday morning.
Yeah, gotta make sure.
Well, let's get into what we thought of the weekend, hot takes wise. I believe, Darian, you're leading us off tonight.
Yes, I am. Yes, sir. Indeed. Well, it's official. Short track racing for the Cup Series is officially dead. It's been this way for a while. Yes, I know it. The problem is, here's the thing. North Wilkesboro, I'm happy it's back on the schedule like everybody else, like every other diehard fan. I mean, you saw the atmosphere. I mean, you could just feel it through the whole television screen, basically. But if you're surprised by the product we saw on Sunday, I don't think you've been watching a whole lot this season. Now, granted, North Wilkesboro is a one-groove track, and there wasn't going to be a whole lot of passing, other than just the one groove anyways. But, with this next-gen car and the way it's performed, it wasn't going to be fantastic. So the reason I'm saying it's dead is basically because I don't look forward to them a whole lot anymore. I really don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'll be honest. I look forward to the 1.5 mile tracks a lot more with this next gen car. So, I'm not saying, it's like totally unfixable, because it's clearly fixable, but it's just, I don't know, just the way they race now and stuff. I can't really get into it on these short tracks. So I look forward to the 1.5 miles more nowadays. And don't blame me, blame NASCAR. That's the way they made it. So, hey, I'm just watching it like you guys are. So, for the moment, short track racing is dead, but hey, it can come back to life someday.
Yeah, I don't know if dead seems like a strong word, but it's in the ICU maybe, or just got checked into the hospital. There's nothing that can't be fixed. I don't think it's life threatening. So my hot take is kind of in a similar vein, but it's more specific to North Wilkesboro Speedway. And I want to preface this: I'm wearing the hat because I think this is a really sexy hat I got this weekend.
It's
I'm
nice,
a big fan.
Very nice.
I'm a fan of North Wilkesboro Speedway. I hope it stays on the schedule as either a points race or the All-Star race, but I hope the nostalgia trip ends there. The North Wilkesboro Speedway All-Star ratings prove that NASCAR is no longer a regional sport. Like, I hate to tell fans in Wilkes County, but NASCAR has in many ways outgrown North Carolina. It just has. It lost to Texas Motor Speedway. Same weekend, same race, same time slot, same network. It lost to Texas Motor Speedway. And that's not because Texas is a better race. It's because Dallas-Fort Worth is a much more densely populated market than Wilkes County. So there's no going back to places like Rockingham, in my opinion. If you're going to spend money on renovating a short track, build a new short track closer to a big city. That's why I'm in pain that Nashville Fairgrounds keeps running into all these roadblocks, because that's perfect. That's a perfect blend of nostalgia, but a big growing media market. I don't know. Junior Johnson, I saw Jeff Gluck tweeted a quote from Junior Johnson 12 or 13 years ago, the late, great Junior Johnson. He said it then: NASCAR can't go back to places like North Wilkesboro. They got to look forward. And I agree. I think North Wilkesboro stays, but it should be a one-off. I think, again, the nostalgia trip should kind of end there.
Well, I'm in the realm of short track racing where I'm going on my hot take here, but it's not necessarily in the top 3 series in NASCAR. It's more in the Advanced Auto Park weekly series realms. Hickory Hickory Speedway. If you were on Twitter, we heard everything happening at North Wilkesboro, but another track there in the Carolinas was making a lot of buzz because of one Anna Beth Barnes, who, if you hadn't heard of her, you now know her as probably a big bonehead short track driver after this weekend. What she did was beyond stupid. First of all, she got so upset over a little incident on a track between her and Landon Huffman. Then she right rears the guy, trying to take him out, put him into the wall at speed. When that fails and she ends up crashing herself, she then goes out under caution and takes out her own car, trying to get payback at him. And then her husband is out there assaulting Landon's dad for who knows what reason. And it's just, at this point, I think NASCAR and Hickory need to park her for probably the rest of the season, and then maybe she can come back next year.
Yep.
Bonehead by Annabeth Barnes and her husband this weekend. And for that, I say Parker. She doesn't need to be back this season.
But
Yep, sounds
you're telling me that attempted murder is not a reasonable way to respond to somebody wronging you?
Yeah, that sounds like
shocking. It's shocking.
Sounds like some thuggish behavior to me. So need to take care of that. Get those thugs out of there. Seriously, they sound like thugs.
No, I agree. I mean, you're gonna do that kind of stuff. You should be called for that and treated like that. But my hot take is gonna kind of go back to the NASCAR realms, and it's gonna kind of be on the opposite end of Mr. Short Track Racing is dead here in Darien. But it's not necessarily going to be just talking back to what Darien said, but also kind of what Dale Jr. was talking about. I think my hot take here is I think that people in Darien's department, people like how Dale Jr. put it on his show this past week, are completely overreacting. Was it a good race? No. Is the package good? No. I completely agree with that. But we've seen before NASCAR has had, especially with new cars, terrible packages for certain types of tracks. We saw that with the Gen 6 Super Speedway package for about a year, give or take. Honestly, if you watch back the way the Gen 6 was in 14-15, it wasn't as desirable as a lot of people would say the late 2010s or early 2020s were. But I don't think that, especially with how the reception was in the community, the money put into it, and also overall what Marcus Smith said after the race at North Wilkesboro isn't really any jeopardy for the moment. I think it has a bit more leeway than a track like Texas would have. And I also don't think, and this is the dumbest thing I think that Junior said in a long time, I don't think Martinsville is in any trouble. I get that the racing hasn't been great, but Martinsville Speedway is not in any trouble. NASCAR had this conversation 20 years ago, and even back then at their height, they realized that would be a dumb decision. So I think people are overreacting and need to step back and take a damn breath, I think.
Isaac Chaos Stain saying Jarrett turning into NASCAR shill.
This is fun. I love this segment.
I agree. I mean, if I had to pick between Jarrett and Darien, I think I agree a little bit more with Jarrett. Although I guess I'll counter Jarrett. We've seen Bristol. They changed the way that track races. Fans stopped showing up, and now it's only got one date, technically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it technically got 2 dates. So, I mean, if Martinsville were to lose a date, it wouldn't be the first beloved short track, in a way,
but
to lose a date.
This is more the vein of people saying it's going away from short tracks, these tracks altogether. Like,
yeah,
I don't think they're leaving Martinsville. Do I think they might shorten the other race to 400 laps? Yeah. I think that's the direction NASCAR is going.
I think they should.
Yeah. That's probably a good idea.
Martinsville's my favorite track. If it's racing like we've seen the last 2 years or year and a half, yes, shorten it to 400. Get us through that slog quicker. But if it's like Martinsville and how it's been for 70-something years for the most part, where a dud is very much a rare occurrence, then it's my favorite track. I'm going to say if we had an 800-lap race at Martinsville, I would be happy. But that's my preference in it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the direction they're going in. I'm putting a poll. I put the poll up right now about it. And Darien, of course, is going to win the hottest take.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, just saying off the top, oh, short track racing is dead, bro. You already know, like, oh yeah, that's automatic.
You had the catchy slogan.
Yep,
I'll say, on the subject, before we get into the race itself, let's just talk about a little bit more about the track and the racing. A lot of folks have said it's the package, not the track. And I think it is about 7. I think the issue we had in the Cup race was about 70% package. But I do think we need to acknowledge some of the issues with North Wilkesboro. It is, and for the most part, always has been a one groove track. And it was exacerbated this weekend because, all the pavement's worn out, but they had to keep patching things up in the racing group. So the actual racing line, that inside lane, had a bunch of basically grip strips, fresh, patched up pieces that made it almost impossible to move up off the bottom lane. The only guy I saw make the middle groove work whatsoever was Michael McDowell, who got lucky when people jammed up on the inside on restarts once or twice. And even that didn't work every single time, and it ultimately got him wrecked. So even that wasn't totally successful. So, but the package is mostly to blame. I don't know if y'all listened to Denny Hamlin's podcast, but he was talking about what Goodyear has told them, how they're trying out a completely new, a much softer tire at New Hampshire later this summer that they're excited about, which I think most of the drivers are probably excited about, and how he believes there truly are things that Goodyear, more than anyone else, can do to the tires that would make short track racing better going forward. So he sounded very optimistic that, it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be overnight, but that with a little experimentation, just changing the tires alone can dramatically improve short track racing. So that's why I come down. I side a little bit more with Jarrett when, short track racing is dead. I don't agree with that. I think there's still reasons to be optimistic, but it's not in a good place right now. That much is definitely true.
No, I'd say I agree a lot with that. I'd say for me, I mean, we saw it in 1 and 2, Eric, during the truck race when we looked at that one area they'd filled in, and you could see dust coming out of the track because it was coming apart during the truck race.
Yeah, you pointed that out. You're right.
And so I do think that's a part of it. My idea is this with North Wilkesboro. A repave is needed. I mean, this pavement is 41 years old.
Something
That's
like
insane.
that.
That's or maybe 42, I think, because it was 90. I think
basically 40
yeah.
plus years old, basically.
Yeah. So it needs to be repaved.
And it had barely been maintained. We know that. So.
Yeah, it needs to be repaved. It needs, and I think this track needs a little time. That I think it'll be given by fans, relative to a track like Texas or even like new reconfigured Bristol back in the day. My idea is this. The debate is points race versus all-star race. Keep it the all-star race for like 2 more years. Have a repave right now. Wear the track in a bit, and when both the package is fixed, probably the tire is better, and then the track is more worn in, then put it as a points race.
Yeah, right now I'm totally fine with having the truck race being the only points race the track has for a while. And
I
also
would like
we
Xfinity.
already eventually, yes. And then also we already know next year it's going to be back for the All-Star.
I just got to say this though, like honestly, I appreciate NASCAR and SMI for just trying it, because I was at Bristol last year in the media center when they announced that North Wilkesboro was going to come back. But even back then, it was so much different of what they were saying. They were saying, okay, we're going to have a late model race, and then we're going to tear up the surface. We're going to have dirt races, and then we're going to repave it, and we'll have more late model races. Maybe we can have a truck series race in 2024. They went full blown with it and said, you know what, the heck with it. We're keeping the surface, and we're going to have full blown Cup Series. Come on out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did change plans. They've called a lot of audibles already, so it feels like they're just flying by the seat of their pants. I think they looked at what they saw this weekend and agree it's not perfect. Place is probably due for a repave, but how do they repave it? I don't know what technology they have. Do they add some sort of slight progressive banking? Like, there's options, and
it's
we'll see.
Smart that they did it this way though, because if they went with the original plan and just repaved it before getting NASCAR out there, there'd be so many people angry. It's like, man, I wish we could have just seen it one last time on that surface.
Yeah.
Well, we got to see it one last time on that surface, and we all got to see. This is why it needs to be repaved.
Certainly needs to be
But that was
repaved.
smart on their part. They did a good thing there. They made a lot of extra money for the track by doing this without spending it right off the get-go. Now they have more to go spend, and I think that was a smart call, because it gave it gave them all a chance to say, okay, this is what you wanted. Do you like it? Because I don't think so.
I want to point out something in the comments, because I've seen Denny Hamlin and a bunch of other drivers say, hey, like Marcus Smith, call us up. Let the drivers help you reconfigure or repave this place. But She-Rank makes a point here. Last time drivers helped with the repave, they ruined Bristol in many's eyes. So I don't know. Like I agree with you, Danny. I think they were smart to give the fans exactly what they wanted. Wasn't great, but it's what the fans wanted. And now we go to work. Now SMI gets creative.
It's like the SpongeBob scene, the kids crying over ice cream. They're like, why did you ask for the ice cream?
Why
But-
did you ask for it then? Yeah.
But hey, props to NASCAR, props to SMI for making it happen. This has been like, we had talked about this for years. I think it was around 2021, 2020 when me and Jared were basically like, look, I'll believe it when I see it at this point. And it actually happened. So that's pretty cool. Just obviously the on-track product needs to be improved. But I mean, that's like, I feel like that's more so on the next gens rather than the track. And eventually it'll need a repave, but I'm just happy it's back.
Well, we've kind of danced around the race itself. Let's dig right on into this as we're talking about it now. The All-Star race. Kyle Larson completely destroyed the field. I've noticed people are calling Kyle Larson's car T-Rex 2.0 at this point because of how far ahead he got. Now, I think a lot of that had to do with the one little bit of tire strategy that we had because there was only one caution in this race. And I will say this too. Even though I think it did attribute to the boring part of it per se, I do like that the race didn't have gimmicks. It was refreshing in that regard.
Yeah.
I love long runs. And
even the Open was traditional. We just had first and second advance.
Yes,
Well,
and I like that.
And you love long runs on a worn out surface like that, 40 plus years old. Like you want to see who can be able to, to keep up with the track.
And that's the failings now of the tire and the package. But with Larson in this race, I mean, he just flat out whipped their ass. There's no other way to put it.
He had a speeding.
I can't say that you couldn't pass at this track because I sure saw Larson do a lot of it as he was lapping people.
He had a speeding penalty, put on those fresh tires, and then he already had a great car anyway, so he's just gonna kill, slice through the field like butter, like a knife through butter, and that's what
the race was over on lap 54 when he passed Daniel Suarez, and it is a shame that the only tire strategy we truly got to see was on that. I think it was lap 18 caution when, but even then, I mean, Larson pit for tires. Bubba pit for tires, Eric Jones pit for tires. I think Reddick pit for tires. And we saw Bubba get up to the front. I think Emily ended up finishing second. We saw Reddick get up into the top 5, I think by the middle stage break, the halfway break, something like that. But a lot of those guys, Eric Jones didn't make a ton of progress. I think he still finished top 10, but he was, the point was even amongst the guys who pit for tires, Kyle Larson was still a man amongst boys. And it wasn't a great race, but I do think, or at least hope that we can all sit back and appreciate what we just witnessed. This was a driver's track. Everyone talked about you're racing the racetrack as much or more than you're racing your competitors. And Kyle Larson just went out there and whipped everybody. This is his third All-Star win already at 3 different tracks. We're witnessing an all-time great entering his prime. I hope we can at least sit back and appreciate it. This is the kind of thing where 20 years from now, when we've forgotten about this horrible short track package, we'll look back and say, damn, that Kyle Larson guy, I can't believe we got to see him race in his prime with Hendrick winning all those. Like that dude was nuts.
Let it not be forgotten too. He's the first driver to win an all-star race at 3 different tracks.
Yeah, and he's won 3 very interesting races too in the all-star race. Because at Charlotte, what year did he win at Charlotte again?
19.
Okay, 2019. But then 2021 wins at Texas. And wasn't that the pre-race where they had the freaking singer? Remember that?
That's what we remember most from the 2021 All-Star race.
So he wins that, and then he wins the return to North Wilkesboro. So very, very interesting.
Oh, Sammy Hagar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That guy, yes.
I just remember. I think Darian, were you at my place when we?
I was that? Yeah, I was probably there.
I was just so irrationally angry at that.
Yeah, I'm just like, what is this?
I remember that. I remember going in our chat and being like, God damn, Danny, that's like 18 texts in a row. I get it. You hate it.
But Eric, to Eric's earlier point about how Larson, even on the new tires with the other drivers on new tires, Larson, he was just able to drive away. I'll put it like this, Larson was already first. And then I think the second guy who was on new tires was Bubba Wallace. And even though he finished second, it took him a very long time to get to second. I feel like by the time Larson finally passed for the lead, Bubba Wallace was just breaking into the top 10. So it was clearly Larson and that team were clearly in a league of their own.
And here's something interesting too that Showman and Bowman pointed out. 2019, his first All-Star win. It sounds weird to say this. He had to win the Open to get into that one, and he won the All-Star race. So it sounds weird even to think back that his first All-Star race, he had to win his way in.
That's right.
Well, and that was, I believe, the race where, was it Newman and Boyer got in a Rock'em Sock'em
Yes.
fight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like Boyer didn't let Newman get out the car, and as soon as Newman gets out, he walks away. Like but
Just
that's
think.
a fight. That's a fight, though.
Just
But
think
okay.
how far they've come. One is a hated Fox analyst, and another's a washed-up driver in a Rick Ware car. Oh,
He could still beat your butt if he was a pro video.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to say that to his face, Jarrett.
I mean, I wouldn't have a chance to. He wouldn't come on the show.
Yeah, that is true.
No, but I want to ask, Eric and I had this conversation after the race. I think we had it also with Slap too. What the hell was it Bush and Byron, or who were the two that pitted?
Yeah, Bush and Byron.
What the hell
yeah.
were their crew chiefs thinking? Like,
I
were
don't
they thinking
know.
they'd make up all that time under green with like 30 laps left in the first stint?
It was a weird time to do it. I don't know what they were thinking, quite honestly, because I think Byron got back to, he ended up being the second car one lap down. So he didn't even quite get back to the free pass position by the time the halfway break came out. That being said, I don't remember exactly when they pit, but they like tried to split the like 70 or so laps that were remaining in stage one. They tried to split that like in half. So yeah, it was like 35 to go. They pit. But I watched the final 100 laps and I was sitting there just begging for someone running fourth, fifth, or sixth at least, to try that strategy. Pit on lap 40, so there's still like 60 to go, and just see. Maybe the track had changed. It's win or go home, or it's win at all costs. Who cares if you finish fifth or sacrifice a fifth place spot? Try something, because if you weren't second or third place where you had a chance to beat Larson on pit road or on a restart, why would you not try a bold tire strategy in the closing 100 laps and just see if you could make that time up? It didn't work for Byron or Bush, but that's because they played it. I think they timed it really badly.
It felt like everyone was going through the motions once Larson got to the lead. At least from the stands, it did. It was like he got to the lead, and everyone's just like, "Well, it's over now."
Yeah,
I was looking at Chase Briscoe looked, especially towards the end of the race, he looked pretty good. I think he passed a couple guys to get up to fourth, and all I could think of was, damn, so he was saving stuff early on. What if he'd like also pit and early on in that final stint and had really fresh tires? Like, what could he have done on a long run and with fresher tires than everybody else? Maybe Chase Briscoe could have run down Larson. Probably not, but maybe. I was shocked that guys in 8th place were just fine finishing 8th. It was weird to me, really weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for the most part, I guess like you talk about going through the motions and stuff. Like maybe, I don't know, like they saw Larson was just being so dominant and stuff. They're like, hey, look, we're just happy to be here anyways back in North Wilkesboro. Let's just try and get a top 10 that won't count for anything.
Loser
I know.
mentality.
It's such a cop out, basically.
Like it is.
I know.
It's like everyone just decided, oh, we're just gonna be losers tonight. We all suck. It's like, no, do something different. Like, you'll do something different in a normal points race, but you won't do something different in a race that doesn't matter.
Larson,
like,
I guess he was that good. I guess that he was just so far ahead. They were just like, look, there's no point in trying anything.
You wanted to be a damn hero to the way the race ended out. Like, I don't know, like rough up Larson if you're going 2 laps down. What do you have to lose?
Yeah,
Bump him a little bit. Like,
you'll get a cheer. You'll get a cheer from the crowd. I mean,
no, you wouldn't.
That
was a very partisan crowd. That was a very, very partisan.
Speaking of partisan, can we talk about McDowell versus Ty Gibbs?
Oh, yes, we can.
I don't know if they showed it on TV, but the initial incident looked like Ty Gibbs just kind of jammed it in there. Aggressive racing ultimately cost McDowell, cost Justin Haley. But when McDowell came back out there and was blocking Gibbs, giving him a hard time, crowd was amped. That was the most pumped they were probably all night long. You saw the same thing, I'm sure, in your section, Jarrett. But I don't know what it looked like to you guys on TV. What'd y'all make of McDowell?
They were excited, bro. You could see the reactions from the cameras and stuff like that. And immediately my first thought was, damn, we need to set up like a whole church brawl or something like that. You know what I mean? For those two, hey, it's all about God first and foremost. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course, but it's just funny when the two drivers are like going against each other.
McDowell had a crusade against freaking Gibbs.
I was like, wow, man. Like, but then like I thought about the incident and I'm like, I was looking on Twitter too after the incident, and I don't know, some people were like, why is McDowell so angry? Like Ty, like he didn't even do anything. Blah. So you even had people defending Ty for once, actually, I guess. Which I was
didn't in the stands.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the stands, nobody. Yeah. You saw a little bit of people, some people defending on Twitter.
I don't know about you, Eric, but in my section, he got the loudest boos in pre-race. Like it was him and Hamlin.
For the
Oh,
Open, yeah, it was probably. I mean, it was Gibbs, it was Hamlin,
What
it was
about-
Logano, it was Bubba.
Yeah, I was
it
about to say, but where was Bubba on the rankings?
Bubba was
He
in there
pretty
as
high
well.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chastain got probably the most cheers though. He also got some boos, but Chastain probably got the loudest cheers, even over Chase Elliott.
Yeah, that was
Side note.
It was honestly pretty surprising, but
Yeah,
it was a very odd crowd to say the least. But
Yeah.
but it was. I will say one other thing. It is also funny as hell to see the Mark Martin throwback do the most un-Mark Martin thing ever.
Yeah.
didn't even think about that. That's funny.
That is funny to actually bring it up because he ran what the Folgers coffee throwback
Yeah.
from
Yeah, it looked
1990.
good.
Yeah, the one he lost the championship in, just itty bitty close, was so close to winning.
You
but
mean the one?
yeah.
You one that NASCAR kind of took away and
took
gave to
away.
Dale Earnhardt?
Basically, yeah, unfortunately. But it's just Mark Martin's like such a clean driver. He was such a clean driver in his heyday, and McDowell's just like, I'm gonna wreck you, basically.
In the
I
name of the
wanna
Lord.
I gave Ty Gibbs some credit on my show. I know he kind of caused that wreck, but he still managed to transfer in Josh Berry as well. I think they both deserve a lot of credit. Josh Berry doesn't have a lot of Cup or NASCAR experience compared to some of these guys, but he held his own really well, raced his way in. But Ty Gibbs, we've seen him lose his cool when bad things happen to him on the track. He kept his composure, managed to hold off Eric Almirola. Like that showed at least some growth in my eyes over last year from Ty Gibbs.
And speaking of another rookie, hey, first off, good news. Noah Gragson, you made it in through the fan vote. The bad news is you freaking clipped the pit wall. I knew somebody was going to do that. I knew
I was sitting there in the entry to turn 1 during practice on Friday, just staring at that wall and watching. Like some drivers would get like within like this close to it on some laps. I'm like, this is practice, y'all. Y'all are cutting it this close.
Danny, would you tweet out earlier that?
Yeah, I said it's begging to be a Roval 2018 repeat.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah,
not
right.
quite the same where a car was completely destroyed, but
on its way.
But hey, it's about time Legacy Motor Club had something go their way, right? I mean, this season, you got both cars in the All-Star race, and hey, Eric Jones got a top 10, hang up the banner, right?
They're probably ready just to finish this year, get the Toyotas, and move on.
Yeah, you still got what, like 7 more months to go? You still got a while to go.
Hey, at least unlike their owner, they at least finished some laps.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked a bit about the fun side of the weekend. Now let's get to the part of this honestly is still pretty fun, I'll be honest.
Fun. We're having fun.
Some of it's so fun.
Yeah. But the other part isn't. Let's start with the fun part. We'll just gradually get serious. So the biggest controversy of the weekend was Bubba Wallace doing this. For those listening, I flipped
you can't
off
just flip off 500 people.
Wow.
Breaking. Iceberg hates his fans.
Someone's gonna screenshot that out of context.
Wow, out of context.
How about this? You put it out of context with me standing next to Bubba, and you make it an album cover, like in black and white. Parental advisory.
What makes this even funnier? Oh, go ahead, Danny.
I just gotta say, I saw this a few times. It made me laugh all this week to see people like just getting mad at that happening when he clearly wasn't looking at the camera when he did it. Obviously it must have been like maybe it's like Blaney or somebody off camera that you couldn't say that he's like chill with like that. And then I'll see a Chase Elliott fan do that. I'm like, did you forget about your driver at Darlington a few years ago?
Yeah. First off, it was confirmed later in the week that he had done it towards one of his friends, and I guess like it was at that moment like they were just starting the interview, so he didn't think that he was like initially like live on camera instantly, and that's happened. But
I'll say this: like, I don't think it's the biggest deal. NASCAR said they're not going to penalize him. I think that's fine.
Nor should they.
But it is pretty freaking stupid. Like, what are you doing? You're standing next to Jamie Little. She's already talking to you. You know the camera's on you, whether you're live or not. Why would you even if you're messing around with your buddies like that? It is just.
I'll admit it's random. It's random.
It's just dumb. I don't know. I think it's dumb. I think it's just it's immature in my opinion. I don't know.
Okay, I'll say this about it. If we want to compare to dumb things, we know the camera's on you. I mean, I remember it was like 2011, 2012. Tony Stewart grabbed Delana Harvick's ass and no one said anything.
Yeah,
I think some people said things, but yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying.
There's so many things that drivers have done. It's just like, but of course, since Bubba did it, he's outraged. Here we go. He's like, he's on
they're
one,
definitely.
but...
I won't argue against that. There's definitely a lot of misguided
But I mean,
outrage.
it is fair. I mean,
in
like,
this case.
Eric, I mean, your point is fair to some extent. It's like, hey, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I just think it's dumb. If NASCAR would have pulled him aside and said, like, hey, Bubba, don't fucking do it. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't flip off. You're on camera. You're on the interview. Don't do that. Like, that's stupid. I get that, but I'm okay with no penalty. Like that's
so. I want to see the same people outraged by this. Go tell it to Stone Cold Steve Austin how many people he flipped off in the '90s and 2000s.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny what's a problem and what's not a problem and stuff. Really, the whole weekend for Bubba Wallace was like he was on one. I mean, obviously he finished his runner-up in the All-Star race. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, we're not going to remember it after this week. Really, 23-11, they finished second and third. So I mean, overall, their team's starting to get it together a little bit.
Earliest they've ever gotten it together. I want to put it that like have we ever seen a 23-11 team look competent like before the month of July?
Not in the short history. Not at least not both teams. No, at least not both teams, and they are.
Yeah,
finally.
So we've always talked about Bubba always starts slow, finishes strong. Like I pointed this out in a video recently. He was 22nd in points at this point last year. He's 15th right now. So if this is like their basement, he's like things are looking good going into the summer. No, he ran great. He was 5th in the truck race too. So he had 2 top 5s this weekend. But really, controversy overshadows it, of course.
But I mean, really, the entire weekend he was trolling. I mean, like we'll obviously talk about the truck race later. But obviously, if you guys didn't watch the race, he finished 5th. But after the race, the way he answered those questions that one of the local reporters had asked him just about the booing and stuff, like that was very professional and stuff. I mean, like Bubba Wallace could have gone like a bunch of different ways with that. You know what I mean? You feel me, right? So
I'm glad he's not making a woe is me thing about it.
Yeah,
like, that's
for him to answer it like that,
I thought he had a good answer.
That was cool. That was very professional. And then obviously the pre-race stuff, doing the crying stuff. Like then you had some people mad about that. I'm like, Kyle Busch, like he made it. That's his thing.
Okay, people got mad about Kyle Busch. Let's
you can be mad about that, but it's also like he's your video he's trolling you, and if you're the number one rule, if you're being bullied or trolled, don't give them the reaction they desire. If you get mad at Bubba doing this, that's what he's wanting. Like that's the whole point. Yep. So
it's like a heel in professional wrestling. They're gonna do something to make you hate them. And at that point, if he realizes he's going to get booed no matter what, he might as well play into being a heel character.
Yeah. And honestly, if this helps him out mentally to do this too, then why not? I mean, sometimes, holding it all in and stuff can be bad, right? And he said that himself publicly. So, if he wants to be a heel and stuff, if it's, good for him personally, then yeah, go for it. I mean, the fans liked it, certainly something to talk about.
A lesson or two he could teach the guy who for once didn't have a controversy, Ross Chastain.
There you go.
So
I forgot Ross raced this weekend.
He was kind of just a non-factor
in both races.
The only thing we noticed Ross doing was pulling over and letting people by.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy how that works.
It's like, hello, Mr. Larson, Mr. Hamlin, you have a good day.
I want none of that smoke.
That's the fun part of it, though.
Yeah. Now let's get to the less fun part of things. Yeah. So I don't have the quotes necessarily on me, but basically Bubba Wallace, I don't know if it was during or after the race, his radio had fans who could find the frequency, because it is something that has been done before, found the frequency and said different things to him. I think one was like, go back where you came from. Another is he doesn't belong in NASCAR. Alabama is where he is from. And from there you have, once again, the lowest of the low in NASCAR fans, the few ruining it for everybody else. I mean, I don't think there's necessarily like a giant debate on anything or anything really too much to dig into in the sense of that. Just that common human decency shouldn't have to be something that's asked for from fans. That is the lowest that we saw in the weekend, on top of the fighting in the stands and stuff. Yeah, disgusting.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt. I mean, you're covering it all, but I guess, like, again, you said it. Drivers have had their radios hacked into before, tapped into. Like
that.
Fans have cussed out drivers.
We did, Eric, like on our podcast car. Remember?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Well, remember? I don't know if it was necessarily a hack, but in that case, it was just it was coming in on the frequency.
But also, too, during the race, BJ did say that his radio was hacked by a fan during the race as well.
So it happens, but the difference here is, just the comments go back to where you came from. Bubba Wallace is subjected to very unique comments that are directly, meant for him. And And that everything to echo everything you just said, Jared. It's, NASCAR has negative stereotypes. They face very negative stereotypes in the public eye, and it's a handful of folks like these who continue to keep those stereotypes very much alive and well, and it hurts the sport's growth. Look, I respect NASCAR's roots. It's a Southern sport, no doubt, but it's also much bigger than that now. And kind of go back to my hot take point, fans need to realize that. And one of my goals here on YouTube is to make NASCAR and stock car racing accessible to everyone. I want anyone, no matter what state, country you come from, to feel welcome, to support your favorite driver, to go to a race of your choosing. And fans like these, with those types of comments, are going to drive people away. And I think that's really all that kind of needs to be acknowledged there.
It ruins it for the rest of fans, for new fans coming in, for fans that don't come from the same background as normal fans. You're not going to, there's certain places you will see more of this than others. And unfortunately, North Wilkesboro is one of those.
And also to add more to that too, just with the history of North Wilkesboro and stuff, like, Willie T. Ribbs, who, was the first African-American driver to make the Indy 500 back in 1991. Amazing story. He made some NASCAR starts back in the 1980s before doing so. And he remembers and specifically pointed out when he was at North Wilkesboro, and he said they booed him and all that stuff before the race and stuff. And, for Bubba Wallace, thankfully, when this radio thing went over, when it was hacked and stuff, he couldn't hear it. So this was after the race, thankfully. So
they're already, so he's probably like either unplugged the radio or out of the car, and they're too dumb to realize that.
Pretty much, yeah. So they basically did it for no reason.
Dumb and run the whole race to figure out how to get in there.
Probably saw him literally standing there, helmet off, and said, "I'll say it now."
Yeah, he probably saw it. Yeah, that's what he's like. He's like, "Oh, he'll definitely hear it too." But yeah, I mean, like to Eric's earlier point, just ruins it for everybody else and stuff. And also, it's like, when outsiders hear stories like this, I mean, look, I'm from North Las Vegas, man. Okay, look, my family grew up in this, they were born and raised in the South and stuff like that. Then moved out to Las Vegas, and I was raised out there. Now I'm happy to now call myself a proud Southerner, I guess. I love Tennessee, by the way. But yeah, it's just when outsiders hear about stories involving NASCAR and like racist stuff, comments like that, it's a major turnoff, man. And it's like, this is like some of the type of stuff I would have to defend and stuff for a while. I wouldn't say defend and stuff, but it's like, I would have to say like, look, listen, this is not the majority, but it's like, it's clearly, not that, it's far from it, like I've been around it my whole life. I mean, if NASCAR was obviously like a racist sport, I clearly wouldn't be watching it and wouldn't be, supporting it, and neither would my parents, it's just not the case.
I want to point out, because I see a couple folks in the comments are suggesting that, would we be talking about this if it had been done to anybody but Bubba? And it's like, well, no, you listen to the comments, go back to where you came from. Any outsider who hears that comment,
what does that mean?
Any outsider, non-NASCAR fan who hears that comment directed at a black driver is going to assume it's racially motivated. And I don't,
or any person of color, person of color.
So that was my point, was other drivers get booed. But when Bubba Wallace gets booed like this, and did y'all hear Dale Jr.'s story at where was it? It was Darlington just a couple weeks ago. Bubba's walking across the stage, Jr. and a bunch of the other top 75 are up on the stage watching the drivers go by, and there's this one fan yelling at Bubba to go back to where he came from, or like, you're not welcome here.
I didn't know
that was directed at Bubba. Wow. And so my point is, everyone gets booed. Bubba Wallace does get booed occasionally in a very specific way that deserves to be called out. And is a turnoff to any outsider who might want to get into NASCAR. That is a turnoff and deserves to be called out.
I've been at both of his wins, and it's the same. I mean, I'll say the Kansas one was less, even when Talladega was like 10% full. But you hear the same things. I mean, especially at Talladega, you heard. Honestly, you heard worse. I understand criticizing Bubba for maturity reasons, or criticizing him, or just not liking him for his attitude, different things like that. That's fine. Yeah. Like I'm not sitting here being the biggest Bubba Wallace stan, but it's stuff like.
But when
that
you have to basically put in like racist stuff about going back to where you came from, and just a diversity hire here, like, no, he's a Cup Series talent. Like, you wouldn't be there if it wasn't for, like, he's a Cup Series talent.
There's no place for that in NASCAR. You can say anything else about him. I mean, literally, if you just wanted to say he sucks. I mean, if you look at his results through time, yes, he's won, but his results aren't that great.
He's not a championship driver.
Merited, like At this point, he's not even been a playoff driver. So
Yeah.
like, go for that if you want to. But it's like completely just going to the bottom of the barrel on the entire deal over and over and over again. All it does is reflect horribly on the person that's saying it. That's just terrible.
One thing I gotta say on this deal, and I've said this many times, I just hate that the reason he still has to put up all this crap is honestly on NASCAR because we've seen this now working in the garage area, how we have these last few years. We know how fast rumors and word can spread when everyone's in there. Back in 2020, they had control. They could keep those secrets locked up. They didn't have to tell anyone about what happened until they had a proper investigation into it. They jumped the gun. They ruined Bubba Wallace's life, in my opinion.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah, because he still has to deal with this.
He would have been just fine. No one would have batted an eye at him if they hadn't done that stupid crap back then. And I will always say that's on NASCAR for ruining Bubba Wallace's life.
It is. They did to some extent. I mean, it's 2023. You're still getting, Bubba Smollett comments under some of his posts and stuff, as if he had anything to do with it.
Gets me a little mad, and I apologize, but I got
a little mad.
NASCAR should be freaking ashamed of themselves for even letting that happen.
Yeah. No,
when they had the control, a time where there was no Bob, there was no Jeff in there, nobody was in there. They could have controlled that, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They let it get out.
And he's still suffering because of it, Now, obviously, like I said in my video yesterday, and shout out to Jet too. I mean, not liking Bubba Wallace for not being, a championship driver, totally valid. Personality wise, totally valid. I mean, sometimes he can come off to me as very standoffish, and I'm like, ugh. I mean, that combined with not winning a whole lot doesn't really make for a great combination. But I mean, those are totally valid reasons not to like Bubba Wallace and stuff. It's just I'm just sick and tired of like people saying like, oh, like you can't criticize Bubba Wallace because then you'll automatically be labeled racist. Like, no, we've criticized Bubba Wallace on this show for years and stuff.
And people who do that, in my opinion, are just as wrong. It's patronizing to whoever you do that to.
Yeah, but basically, in conclusion, I think it's great that we have platforms to call out this type of stuff. Because when some, younger people are looking up NASCAR and stuff like that, and then, hey, our stuff pops up sometimes, but then also, you'll get other channels that try to do the little clickbaity Bubba Wallace titles and stuff like that. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I called them out in my video, but, I think it's great that we have platforms to call this type of stuff out. And I think it's great that we have young fans too, that call this out as well,
Yeah.
So
I just say it's okay to boo Bubba Wallace, but keep it civil. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep it within that window. And
like he said, it is sports. It is a part of sports and stuff,
I just sat there, went on my rant about that, but I'll still say part of that was also on Bubba for going on shows like Don Lemon, where he was just egging it on basically.
Yeah,
I mean, that is fair.
Some of that stuff
I understand folks booing him for things like that. I can get that, but at the same time, it's you can boo a guy, but some of those comments are definitely out of line. That's really all. And that's kind of how I just kind of summarize it.
Yeah. Well, I think we can. I think as NASCAR and everyone else should probably do at this point. Let's put that one in the book. Move on. And I think we should do that right now too. Moving on through the show.
500 live viewers. 500 plus.
Yeah, click the like button. Yeah,
that
was a pretty spicy conversation. Then damn, Danny came in with that
zesty
too.
I've never seen Danny. Danny was pounding the desk.
For real. Yeah, he was.
It's something I've felt about for a while. I mean that's like anyone that can say Bubba ruined his career. No, it was NASCAR. They did that to him.
Yeah.
Well, let's move forward here to the last bit about the All-Star race and the weekend. We actually might be able to talk about the truck race before we get to the hour mark here.
Holy crap! It's been a while.
Let's speed run the ratings.
Let's get through the ratings really quick. They're not good. I'm just gonna say that now. There was a 1.28 rating on this race, down 7% from last year's Texas race at a 1.38. And 2.203 million viewers, down 11% from that same Texas race that had almost 2.5 million viewers. Also worth noting, it was down 19% from 2021's race at Texas. So last 3 years has been 2021 then down. 2022 was down from 21. Then this year was down from 22. Is up 6% from the midweek Bristol race in 2020, though that's not saying too much. Only down 9% from the last race at Charlotte in 2019, which is worth noting because Charlotte in the last 6 years or not Charlotte, 2019 in the last 6 years has been the most watched season that we've covered so far since like 2018-ish, give or take. Now, Adam Stern pointed out that the race portion was flat with 2022 due to the fact that they added pre- and post-race coverage in, as it also was a very short race, but they added that into the window, which will skew viewership. I've seen that even broadcasting iRacing. The pre-race and post-race will take the overall average down by a wide margin. Now, also worth noting, while this was Fox versus FS1, the truck race was up 104% from the same weekend last year. On Big Fox, I had nearly 1 million viewers for a truck race.
That's big.
982,000. So you add in the attendance, it was over 1 million people saw that race live versus 482,000 watching the corresponding weekend last year, which I believe it was Texas they raced at as well. So not the greatest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not good.
And also, just really quick to answer Cito's question. L ratings, how? I'll give you this answer. Basically, Texas, Fort Worth area, a whole lot more people live there.
I think it's just a big market. I think it's a little bit of, like I said at the beginning, it's a lot of markets. I think short tracks always seem to draw in lower ratings than big tracks, but that's because big tracks are in Dallas, Fort Worth, Kansas City, Las Vegas, whereas short tracks are in Martinsville, Virginia. I guess Richmond's decent size.
They're in Richmond.
But Bristol and now North Wilkesboro, I mean, they're kind of in the middle of nowhere, unfortunately, and that does play a role. But I think there's also some fans who just like fast. They see 180 miles per hour and think that's cooler than 90 miles per hour, and they're just like, gonna watch that.
I'll get you the real answer why the ratings down. Just SMI officials were right in 1996. They knew what people wanted.
Yeah, Bruden Smith's he's somewhere going like, I told y'all, bro. Maybe we should have killed this for a reason.
That being said, so the race portion itself was almost the same as Texas. I do want to say that it's not like Texas destroyed Wilkesboro in ratings. They were very comparable, but I do think that's a small L. I don't know what Fox internally was predicting. Movie studios always have their predictions of what a movie's going to make at the box office. I'm sure TV, they have the similar thing for ratings. I don't know how this compares to what their predictions were, but my predictions, my very unscientific, uneducated predictions, were that this race would get close to 3 million viewers, and for it to get, what was the number, like 2.2, 2.3 million?
2.2.
Yeah. I thought it would be, Texas got like 2.4, 2.5. I thought it would be in like the 2.7 to 2.8 million range. I didn't expect it to hit 3 million. I don't know if hardly ever any FS1 races get to 3 million these days. Probably not. I don't think any of them do. But I was expecting high 2 millions just with all the marketing that went into this. Obviously, the demand at the track, the tickets that were sold, like that was huge. I would have figured that would trickle into the TV viewership, and it just apparently didn't. Like that is surprising to me.
Didn't translate at all.
The Clash at the Coliseum, granted on Fox, got double the viewership, or not quite. It got like almost 4 million viewers this year, which is kind of wild. But that's Los Angeles, short track, big market.
Let me check really quick because I realized I didn't put it in there. I want to see what the key demo rating was for this race because it.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Yeah.
And then also
21%. For a NASCAR race, that's actually high.
That's pretty,
That's on the high end for a NASCAR race.
That's not bad too. And also, also to point out too, some they're pointing out in the chat, Indy 500 qualifying started right before, or no, excuse me, it was ending right before the race started, and it didn't even break 1 million views. And it was on big NBC.
They were down slightly as well this year, I believe.
Indy has been down.
Yeah, it's for a while.
IndyCar's been down big time this year.
I thought you were going to say down bad.
So, hey, could be worse, right? But not a W weekend though. Ratings wise,
I will say I think that some of it has to do. I think a big part has to do with market, but a big part also does have to do with the short track draw that just isn't there anymore. Martinsville, Bristol, and Richmond, in more recent years, have brought in less viewers. Whereas in the past, even on TNT, the Bristol night race was pretty well watched. It was up until about the early 2010s. Once I got to the new contract is when you started seeing the change with that. But it was routine that you would see Bristol bringing as many viewers as Atlanta. Richmond, same way. Like, it was generally the same way, no matter networks, whether it was ABC, ESPN, differences. Like, so it has been a new kind of change. I think a lot of it's just that fans' interests are changing. And I think this race would have been a smash hit success if it was 10 years earlier.
Oh, yeah. No
Because
question. No question.
I mean, we all have talked about it. Like, this race did not, and the marketing for it, even though the younger viewer demo was up compared to most races, this does not cater to us. This caters to fans who were around in 1996 on back. And whether it's for falling away because of how much NASCAR wronged them in the past in their eyes, or passing away because it has been 27 years, those fans probably didn't show up in as high a number as NASCAR would have wanted. Again, if this was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, like, this is still like, early Chase era, I think this would be like the most watched all-star race in years, regardless of channel or marketing. I think
this could just be like you're saying, Jared. This could kind of just be the proof that, whether you can argue NASCAR abandoned them or they abandoned NASCAR, the old school fan is not there anymore. Yeah. And not nearly the numbers maybe we thought they still were. Like, I think now the people who watch NASCAR each week are like, Chase era on almost. And that's kind of crazy. Like, I that's probably an exaggeration, but the numbers, there's some proof, there's some truth in the numbers, I guess.
I think that the thing that NASCAR, NASCAR will bring some old fans back. I get that. I think that we talked about it too, that North Carolina base isn't there like it used to be. NASCAR went from a regional sport to like a fully regional sport to a national fad to a niche sport. And a niche sport can be regional and it also can't be. I think it's just now NASCAR is probably, if you look at the numbers compared to like 96 on back, NASCAR generally has a little bit more, if not the same amount of viewers it had through that time, but they're all spread out now. They're not.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, you're right. It is more spread out.
There's a big base in the Midwest. There's Northeastern fans. There's the West Coast fans. There's fans in the Mountain Time Zone that unfortunately never get catered to because there's nothing out there racing wise except go to Pikes Peak. I have to put that in there. But I think that's another issue with it. Again, NASCAR waited too long with this, and SMI did. I think if they'd done this like honestly, if they'd done this previous contract on back, I don't think we would have any ratings problems with it.
Oh, if they did this in 2014, oh my God, that would be crazy. That'd be, oh my
Chef's
gosh.
kiss.
Man, that would have been something. But I mean, I'm glad it's back now. But I mean, yeah, like you might have missed the mark a little bit there.
Beggars, I guess, can't be too much choosers.
But like you said, though, would you say 21% in the key demo, right?
Yeah, that's good for NASCAR.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. So I mean, I guess some of the nostalgia feel brought some some young interest, I guess, to some extent. But yeah,
that's just not what you'd expect. You expected to bring in the older
zap of interest.
Exactly. Yeah, so like to Eric's earlier point, basically it's the older fans not really around anymore.
Well, we kind of went through that. There's a little other rating we could talk about with it, isn't there, Darian?
Yes, sir. It's time for the poll, the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Yeah, I asked everyone what they thought of the 2023 NASCAR All-Star Race, and 15% said it was great. 26 said it was good. 41 net positive, which is honestly, I think, the lowest this season.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised it's like just over 40%.
Yeah. 36% said it was average. 13 below average. 10 bad. So 23% net negative. The first comment. Okay. Spencer left 3 paragraphs. I'm only reading the first one.
What the hell? Not the whole freaking essay,
Spencer.
Bro.
I appreciate the enthusiasm, but for time flow standards, I'm gonna read the first paragraph. Positive, negative, or meme?
Positive. I'll say positive.
I think it's negative. I think he's got a whole dissertation that he's just getting started on.
I think it's a meme.
Oh, so we all pick differently.
All right. He says, well, hey, now they were all stars. They got their game on. They went and played.
Oh, my God.
And hey, now they were rock stars. They got their show on. One of them
Oh
got
my
paid
God.
$1 million.
Yeah.
All their glitters were gold, and their shooting stars only broke the mold.
Okay,
Think
so
of
that's a
it. Think of
positive.
it. It had to be a meme. How else would he have that written that much that early?
Well, the
Yeah.
first part was meme, and then the rest was like actually
Okay.
getting into the race. I'm surprised though. Spencer Spencer has to be writing his comment up during the race.
He's got it copy
notepad.
pasted.
Yeah, copy paste,
Yeah.
ready to go. I love the enthusiasm.
You're gonna get copyright claim for that beautiful singing rendition you did there, Jarrett. That sounded straight off the album. Watch out.
Maybe somebody could put the music in the background. We'll put it as a short.
DreamWorks is coming for
Dun,
you.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, we'll put it as a short on the Clips channel, which by the way you
Yeah.
should totally subscribe to. Totally.
Mhm, mhm.
But that about covers it. Now I think we can get into the truck race a little bit and then get into Super Chat stage break number 1 on the night. Let's go to the big piece of it. Bubba versus Larson at the end there was way more entertaining than honestly I thought it should have been.
Yeah, like Bubba was on older tires, and obviously, Larson was on fresher ones. Larson clearly had the better truck, was going to get the lead, no problem. But I am glad Bubba Wallace gave him a bit of a fight. We just complained about some of the teams not really,
crap,
giving
comments.
What?
I realized I forgot the comment.
Oh gosh!
I thought you were just speed running. I was like, we are getting close.
That's
to
right.
that.
Hey, sorry. Hey, it's all good.
Okay,
Hey, do your thing, do your thing.
just read a few of them.
Yeah, do your thing.
Well, how about this? We'll 3 top because there was actually 650 comments to parcel through here.
Damn.
So how about we do the 3 top and the 3 bottom feeders?
That sounds good.
Nah, that's cool. It's cool.
Basement boy.
Basement. So DS Half Demon says, was a fun and entertaining race to watch. No gimmicks, no weird flip-flopping of the field 3 or 4 times. Just simple, understand, old school feeling rules. I definitely felt the throwback roots to the Winston in this one.
I agree.
You could feel it, yeah.
Atroer says, one of the most important races in NASCAR history. Only reason it was great. Could care less that Larson dominated. All the newer fans don't understand what this race meant.
Yeah, no, to some extent. Yeah.
Random Goose says, cool that they returned to an old track with lots of history, but that was the first race I almost fell asleep to. Low-key snoozer feast.
Yeah, I mean,
Snoozer feast.
Snoozer feast, not fest.
I'm assuming it was probably fest.
Yeah.
Feast.
Could have been eating while he's sleeping. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Now the gutter comments.
Yes.
First one's from Cameron, says these next gen cars really suck on short tracks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Tell us something we don't know.
I agree.
Gary says, I stopped watching about 20 laps in. You can't pass in this car, just single file riding around. North Wilkesboro was a bad track in 1996 and still is today. Take
Damn.
the worst short track package and race them on one of the worst short tracks, and what do you expect?
Gave up after 20 laps. I mean,
That's crazy.
My biggest thing, and I said this during the race, I just felt like this track was robbed of its best cars that never got to see race there.
that's a good point. I probably
That's
agree,
true.
actually.
And it's always been a one group track. So again, you been watching the older races, you wouldn't be shocked.
And then the last comment just said terrible.
Damn. Is that it? That it for the comments?
That's it.
All right. And that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round. Oh, that's like of the
lightning round
of the famous Iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Oh gosh, I'm
So Jarrett skips the comments. Darian thinks we're in the lightning round.
Damn, we on one tonight. All right.
All right, can we get to the pick points? I think I still.
All right, wait. Are you sure you want to get there?
Oh shoot! Actually, let's wait. We can push.
Well,
it.
let's get to the truck race really quick. Darian, continue what you were saying before we were gratefully reminded by the chat.
Yeah, thank you, chat. But no, my earlier point, I'm glad Bubba Wallace made it challenging, because we were just criticizing, the Cup guys and teams for not trying, for not, getting a little risky, towards the end there, because Larson was ahead by so much, just had basically given up, it felt like. And Bubba Wallace actually gave, a bit of a fight to Larson there too, and also too the going from the outside to the inside there, entering turn one and stuff. I mean, that was pretty cool, and was able to take the lead back for a moment, and then eventually Larson drove away, and Bubba faded back to still a top 5 finish. Not bad for him. First time being there and stuff, but yeah, it was a good race, and honestly, the truck race overall just stole the show. I mean, you had saw comers and goers, and at first, the guys like some of the regulars like Corey Heim and Carson Hocevar were still in the show there. Then eventually, you saw other guys fade up to the front, and some guys faded to the back. Really, this race had it all to me too, and I was like, it's going to be really hard for the the next gens to top what the trucks just put on, and I was right.
Yeah, the truck race was overall, I can't complain about anything. When Bubba on old tires got passed by Larson and then crossed him over, I knew he wasn't going to complete the pass, but I at least appreciated the grind. I appreciated the hustle. What I loved about the trucks is I sat, and you were with me, Jarrett, we sat up high in turns 1 and 2, center of the corner. And, you didn't see us as much with the Cup guys, but the truck guys, after 20 or 30 laps, their tires were worn out. They were using all 4 tires, clipping the grass. They were on the apron coming out of turn 2. And it was just weird. Like, it was almost like an optical illusion. I'd see Matt Crafton go down, like he'd be racing somebody, he'd cut down like it's Phoenix, take the apron. And I think he was going to like come out behind the guy. No, he'd come out like right. He'd like door slam the guy on exit. Like, he had such a run, so much grip down there. It was honestly mesmerizing at
times.
Did
Larson did that too.
A bunch. Crafton, I think, started it, and then Larson, a bunch of others started doing it too. But like, it was a little thing. I think we were both staring at Dean Thompson when he got a little too close to the grass and spun. So it was a fun. It felt like the kink at Road America, where you just sit in one corner and watch trucks haul through there and just wait for someone to mess up, because it would happen every now and then.
And then you had the two I noticed kept hitting the grass were Haley Deegan and Raja Caruth. They kept going to the grass. At one point, Raja damn near spun it out of the corner because there were just dust everywhere from people. Like, they got rid of the grass. They went straight to the dirt. And at that point, it was just covering the apron. You started seeing people after that start slipping and sliding through. But no, I really enjoyed that overall. Especially being right there to see it compared to the TV. You could see how much they were wheeling it, and you could also see how much they were aiming for that. And Larson did it, in my opinion, the best, where he diamonded the corner. Like, he got like way up, and then he would just get the exit, use that grip there to get off, and at that point, like, was flying.
And speaking of, you just mentioned these two drivers, Dean Thompson and Rajat Caruth. Did any of y'all listen to their post-race comments after their early wrecks? Because they had freaking roasted parts of the Truck Series field again. I feel like that's like on course for like young drivers in the Truck Series. Like at least once during their time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, are one of these young drivers going to call out the field, basically. Like, Rajat Caruth said publicly, like, yeah, they're racing like dickheads. Like, he said that in the post-race interview afterwards. And Dean Thompson, he had also said, yeah, there's just no give and take. It's just take all the time.
Well, actually, I forgot who it was on the radio, but one of the radio guys actually dissed the guys in the back. So Josh Williams was running last of the trucks left.
Yeah.
And 2 in front of him started getting together and hitting each other. And then the third one went down and sort of got into it with them. And so Josh tried to just pass him really quick because he was way faster and had the opportunity to actually pass him down the back. And they all got together, those 3, and took him out. And the radio guy went, inexplicably, they're running for last harder than anyone in the field. And now the caution is out again.
They were 4 wide. Yeah. And then that's when he spun and stuff, and he barely clipped the entrance to pit road and stuff.
So stupid.
But yeah, it's just another case of the Truck Series field. I mean, like, again, when you're talking about, developing, young drivers and stuff, you have to question to some extent if the Truck Series is really the place to be developing them at. So yeah, just something to consider.
A few folks in the chat are saying Deegan had her worst performance. Deegan looked lost. I did.
Oh, she looked lost.
She qualified well. She started like 9th or 10th. But I made the comment to Jarrett halfway through. I was like, God, I swear every caution the 13 is taking the wave around or is getting the free pass. So she would like get on the lead lap, fall off the lead lap. Get back on the lead lap, fall off the lead lap. It was just I don't think she had a great day. Other folks were saying earlier to watch her latest vlog to see more about like track conditions. I have not seen it, so maybe there'd be some good insight there.
I hate when people bring up, oh, the driver did bad because of the track. It's like everyone raced on the track.
Okay,
yeah.
everyone, right? Yeah, what do you mean? Like because of the track.
The only time that would be valid was the curb that junked Joey Logano and a bunch of cars at Indy a few years ago.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, Deegan's got, I said earlier, I'm like, look, you gotta, I mean, you're with ThorSport now. I mean, it's time to make the playoffs, right? It's like, I don't think so.
Some of the chats pointing out that Eric's eating our favorite dish.
Yeah, I was about to ask, Eric, what are you eating?
I don't know why she did this. Amelia made brownies and she brought me a brownie and a fork.
Oh,
So I got.
They were
Wait,
saying
hold
you're
on.
eating chicken, so
Wait, hold
Yeah,
on.
no.
Eric, these are regular brownies now, right?
Yes, they're delicious.
Want to make
They're
sure.
fantastic brownies.
Yeah, want to make sure.
We're about a month and 4 days off there, Darian. All right. Well, does that cover the weekend? All right.
Yes.
Can we move forward?
All right, we're good. We're good.
We can move forward to the first Super Chat stage break. I got the timer on my end, sort of. I might have to have somebody back me up on that, but I'm want to get right on into it. And by the way,
I'll run a timer.
awesome. And by the way, we're doing the same thing we did the last few years. The highest Super Chat, if you put your Indy 500 pick, that's the chat one, just because it's a one-off race. So you can go with that. I think the bidding's at $5 right now. So
starting small.
buckaroos. Well, let's get on into the Super Chats here. Starting with Cavante Caldwell. Thank you for the 5. Larson's speed at the All-Star race just keeps showing that he's consistently been the fastest all season. If bad luck stops, he'll win 5 to 7 races.
Yeah. Great.
NASCAR Sun 2414. Thank you for the 5. Danny B talks. It's great to see you. I missed you last week. Darian, you will love the Indy 500. It will be my 11th Indy 500, and I hope to see you there.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah, hopefully. Hey, there's going to be a ton of people. I'm going to get there like around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you have to. It's going to be a lot.
Then NASCAR Sun 2414 left another $5 super chat saying, Iceberg and Eric, it was so awesome to meet you at North Wilkesboro. What'd you think of the place and not the race? I loved seeing and walking around.
It was great to see you too. I thought it was fantastic. I had never been when it was, run down, or I didn't go last year for the late model stuff, but I mean, it felt like a legit Cup Series place. Like there were elements that felt old, like high school football stadium-esque, but like I've been to college football stadiums that are more uncomfortable than, the North Wilkesboro Speedway, like D1 college. So yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it had a lot of charm, but was still like a very pleasant experience. It was a lot of porta potties, yes, but I never really had to wait for the bathroom, which I think is a win.
Yeah. Isaac, Chaos Stain. Thank you for the 5. PSA, if you ever hear somebody call Bubba or anyone else a diversity hire, stop watching them and block them. They're not worth time or attention. I think we're pretty much.
Yeah. He was with the diversity program, but he's a Cup talent, though. Come on.
Alex, thank you for the 5. Happy 33rd birthday to his favorite driver, 2-time champion, Joey Logano. Oh, my God, Joey Logano is 33.
He's still
His
young.
birthday?
He's still young. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
At least he got his hair back.
Damn.
And that reminds me of that thing that sign that was in front of Eric and I.
What did it say?
Shout out to this guy. He watches, I don't know if he watches this show, but I forget his name, but he had a sign. He was a Kyle Busch fan for one. He was holding up a sign in the grandstands. On one side, it was Joey Logano with, his old hairline. And then on the other side was Joey Logano with this I don't know what he did. It looked like,
I saw that on
I think,
Twitter.
looked like a dead
someone
rat he taped to his sign.
Yeah.
Someone on the Couch Racer account tweeted a video of that person.
Well,
That's right.
Then he asked, "Oh, bro, can I get a photo with you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And then I didn't realize I'm wearing a Matt Kenseth t-shirt. I'm taking a photo with this guy who almost like I'm endorsing the Joey Logano slander. And I'm like, I got one through this in 2015. I don't need it. I don't need this now.
I mean,
Damn. Damn, that's crazy. That's all, that was almost 10 years ago,
Now,
by the way.
I'd like to get to the next super chats,
That's
please.
30 minutes, but you go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get to a couple more of these guys said. Hunter Nixon Fishing, thank you for the 20. My opinion on the Bubba Wallace bird finger is that you can't be mad at him, but be okay with what Chase Elliott did to Kyle Busch at 2020 at Darlington. Not a compelling race this weekend. Please fix the Gen 7 short track program. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 2. Bring back The Rock. Give Wilkesboro and The Rock one date. And then the last 2 from Alan I'll read are both for 10. And they're almost the same, at least at the start. His first one said, I grew up going to North Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray with my dad. I never thought I would see Wilkesboro back. I cannot put into words what the last weekend meant to me, and I wasn't even there. And then he also said, I lived less than an hour away from North Wilkesboro, only 10 minutes from Bowman Gray. My dad is gone, but I know he would have been in tears due to going back to the track with his father / my grandfather.
Oh, that's a cool story.
Mm-hmm.
I have a story kind of in that vein. One of the first people I met this weekend was this guy. He looked to be in his maybe 30s or so. And he told me that he went to his first NASCAR race. It was that 1996 Cup race at North Wilkesboro. He and his grandmother went together. They were both there this weekend, sitting in the same general section. And I just thought that was crazy. I'm like, 27 years later, and you're still able to come back to North Wilkesboro with your grandma. Like, that's amazing. So
that's cool.
Shout out to that guy.
That's what's up.
And then the last one was from Ross Crash Stain, who said, when the cars were in turn 4 on the final lap, I figured it was all downhill from there. And put us down for award for the 500 for 5. So,
yes, good pick. Good pick.
Oh, I heard Ward. I'm like, are they picking Ward Burton?
No, this award is a different award.
I just want to point that out, Jarrett, because of how dangerous this is. Someone could literally pay you $100 and say Kevin Conway is going to win the Indy 500.
We're keeping this, counting it as people who are in the field, and also like do not put any of those. And if like there's a tie, then we'll I don't know, we'll put it up to a poll.
Flip a coin.
Yeah, we'll flip a coin, put it up to a poll, one or the other. But that'll do it for this super chat stage break. And then Darian, I believe we have something else coming.
Damn, this is a fast show compared to most of the shows this season. Now I think about it, a very fast show indeed, because now it's time for the lightning round, the famous lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
No, Darian, we're reading the comments.
Oh yeah, you almost got me confused. Almost got me mixed up.
This show is lightning fast.
It is, especially today.
It's funny. It's funny that Danny, you this week, you get electrocuted by the lightning round, but it's gonna be a quick one this week. We have one thing of news in it and one promo in it. We have the fact that the Coke 600 was sold out for the 2nd straight year. Yippee! And be sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Clips channel, NWP Clips. It's up now. We got the first bit of our top 75 list put on there from last week. And we're sure to add some more.
Hey, don't forget something.
What are we forgetting, Danny?
He's back.
I was going to talk about that at the Charlotte portion.
No, it's never too early to talk about Bowman
we'll
being back. Danny, are you directing the commercial? The Alex Bowman is back TV commercial?
Yes, I've been personally asked by NASCAR to come in and produce 72 commercials to run this weekend.
Oh, that's funny. 72. Except we know he's not getting a commercial.
But yeah, thank you really quick, Spencer. But I also put the link in there too. The link to the Clips channel is in the chat.
You get a link. You get a link. You all get to put a link.
We're 1 subscriber away from 69 subscribers.
Hey, who will be the nicest subscriber?
So yeah, let's get to
it. Could be me. I'm not even subscribed to the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hauling them. Oh, it's already at 76. Damn it. I missed it.
Oh, damn. That's nice. That's nice.
Maybe
but yeah,
we're in the.
But Eric, you are in the channel art though, at least. So we all are. So that's pretty cool.
That's a cool picture. Yeah.
That does it for the lightning round.
Damn. So that was one of the fastest ever. But anyways, that'll do it for another edition of the famous lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now back to the show, everybody.
Well, before we go to our top 75 driver list talking points a little bit, there was a little extra news put on a story we talked about, I believe, last week and the week before. The Xfinity Series could possibly be streaming exclusive. Now, here's kind of what we know so far. Nothing is confirmed. That's what we know. But we also do know that Amazon is the leading candidate. I know that Apple TV and YouTube TV were brought up. I hope it's not YouTube TV because I don't want to pay them any more money than I already do. I want to get rid of them. For pricing. Actually, the TV part's not too bad. But they're talking about having huge amounts of money put into it. Possibly some of the numbers thrown around were like $1 billion a year. Just for the Xfinity Series rights because of how much they want to draw people in. To put this in perspective for the Cup Series, for the contract alone, $820 million a year goes to NASCAR from Fox and NBC combined.
So I just thought of something.
Mm-hmm.
Would it even be the Xfinity Series anymore?
That's what I was getting to. The contract for Xfinity ends in 2024. This could be the NASCAR.
But why would they want to be on that?
Could be the NASCAR Amazon Series.
Yeah,
that'd be very interesting.
The NASCAR Prime Series.
You know what? That makes sense because with the amount of money that they were wanting to put into it just for the Xfinity Series alone, I felt like, well, they would want to have more involvement, right? But yeah, now you just pointed that out. The Xfinity contract's about to be up, and yeah, it seems like the perfect opportunity for Amazon.
Until right now, it's went over my head, not even thinking, oh wait, Xfinity wouldn't want to be on something they can't even have on their broadcasting.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, there were some varying opinions on this. Yeah, I just find it interesting that, NASCAR fans out there will say, move it to streaming, move it to streaming, move it to streaming. A series might be moved all the way to streaming, and then it's like, oh, no, this is bad. Like, no, actually,
at first it will be.
Well, yeah, look, I'll put it like this. Basically, if this deal were to go through, as it's being reported right now, the short-term losses, there's going to be a lot of short-term losses at first. At first, it would be hard to sell some sponsorship for certain teams, but for the most part, though, the long-term gains, I mean, it's out of nowhere. I mean, like Tommy Joe Martins who runs a NASCAR Xfinity Series team, has been a guest on the show, has discussed the business, the ins and outs of the sport with us for years at this point. He was all for this move. He basically gave his reasons why about, more purse money, it sounds like. Yes, it'd be harder to sell the sponsorship, but, the long-term gains sound phenomenal. It's like, why? I mean, like, why argue against one of the Xfinity Series owners, especially and especially one of the underdog owners of the sport as well? So if he's all for it, I'm all for it as well.
I talked to Jeremy Clements actually earlier this week, who's another kind of mid-pack team owner / driver, and he didn't know a lot about these rumors or this potential, but he definitely was, seemed excited about the idea of an increased purse. For sure. Like if the media money, because we can't call it traditional TV anymore, but the Amazon money, if it goes to an increased purse, that could offset the cost of maybe losing out on some sponsorship dollars early on. So there's a way this works for the teams as well.
I think a couple ways I'm looking at it too is like, I can understand people not being for it. Like, yes, I get the business side is good, but the viewer side is going to be difficult for people to adjust. But I will say that I think it's only like $15 a month, and if you're a student, it's like $5 or $6 a month for Amazon. And
it comes with that free shipping. It comes with all sorts of perks. Like I have Amazon Prime now for shipping and for streaming some of their shows and stuff.
Yeah, I do too. So I can understand why fans are apprehensive. But I think the entire point of these negotiations and any contract negotiations is not for what we're doing now. What we're doing now is not the same thing we did in 2012 or 13. Just like what we're doing now will not be the same thing we're doing in 2030. I think it's definitely going to be pushing it to go exclusively streaming this early. I think you're going to see pretty big drops. But at the same time, I think long term, this has to be the move because it's what everyone is going to be moving to. Whether people like it or not, you're going to be streaming stuff. You might as well get to it early.
Yeah, that's the way I see it. And you'll also have, a massive engine like Amazon promoting it. Like, I mean, Xfinity does a great job. Xfinity does promote the series for sure, but Amazon, I mean, with their digital reach, especially, like I feel they could reach a new audience that maybe previously didn't care much about it. I feel like the Xfinity exposure, we've all but tapped out at this point.
Just shopping on Amazon, like during football season, I would see something related to what game is coming up. So just shopping on Amazon, you're gonna see something like watch Austin Hill this weekend in the race.
Someone recommended or suggested they could make something happen where during the race, here's Daniel Hemrick is leading, and then they could pop up on the screen, click here to buy Daniel Hemrick merch. Like they could do that here on Amazon.
I mean, with Amazon's promoting, I mean, NASCAR, the overall goal as far as viewership's concerned now is to get a major uptick in younger viewers. This is a major risk, but young people are on Amazon Prime. So I totally get why they want to take this giant risk. It's everything's going to streaming. So you might as well get on the train now. And, we could look back on could look back at this a decade from now and be like, hey, NASCAR, they were on point with that decision.
I'm looking at Amazon right now on my other monitor here, and I'm just like, when I'm on here, there's so much space of places they could do something. Over in the right hand of the screen, they could put a little ticker that shows you who's in what position in the race, and a little button says watch now or something like that.
Yeah, there's so many ideas, so they can definitely take advantage.
Yeah, they could do something different.
And even if it's leveled out, NASCAR's not growing right now. And that's ultimately what you want to be doing. And it looks like the fly that's always been in my room is in Danny's.
Yeah, it was just in here.
But I would say you have to try something out there. You've tried stuff. I mean, you have the best racing probably in Xfinity, I would say. You have people that are going to be stars that need to be marketed to newer fans. Might as well at least give it a shot. If it doesn't work, at least you tried something. I would rather try something new and it fail that might be cutting edge and might work out in a really good way than just do the same thing on dinosaur media that hasn't been working for the last 6, 7, 8 years.
That's the way I see. There's big risk up front, but high reward. And they always say, don't fix what isn't broken. I think we can safely say at this point, NASCAR ratings, they're not necessarily broken, but they could be running a lot better.
It's not growing. It's not growing at a fast rate.
It's very flat. Yeah.
I applaud NASCAR, man. Take the risk. What do you have to lose at this point? I mean, from what it sounds like, I mean, it's not official or nothing, but it sounds like Fox and NBC are more than likely going to hop on board again. And then obviously for the Cup Series, it sounds like there will be a 6 race stretch, maybe, similar to what TNT used to do from 2007 to 2014 on a streaming platform. So, I mean, why not, man? Why not just take the risk? So you have that as well as the Xfinity Series going, doing that now. Truck Series, I don't know what's going to really happen with them, but it's great to see NASCAR taking a risk with at least one of their series. Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
The thing that I'm interested in is if Amazon has exclusive streaming rights to NASCAR, does that mean that races wouldn't be put on Peacock? Because they're talking about Amazon and Cup, too. If they're the exclusive ones to be able to stream NASCAR races.
That's something they'll have to get around, I mean, I know Peacock's growing and stuff, but I'll be honest. I mean, I'd rather have the exclusive streaming deal for Amazon and stuff. But if it somehow does affect overall TV negotiations with NBC, that could be a problem because again, Peacock is their baby. They're promoting that thing all the time. So
it's interesting though, they'll probably re-sign with Fox, it sounds like, but Fox doesn't have a streaming service. So I just wonder what will that contract with Fox in particular look like? Because we talk about, hey, 10 years from now, we can't be doing the same thing. 10 years from now, Fox will probably still be doing the same thing. So, what kind of deal will we sign with them? I don't know how that's going to work.
How much do they value FS1, I think, is the big question. Because if they still are thinking we can make it work, we can change him when it comes to the cable and the viewing base. I don't want more races put on FS1, especially if Xfinity's not going to be there and they are desperately in need. I don't like that idea. And then what happens with the Truck Series too at this point? Because if NBC needs more sports, do they try and get rights to part of the Truck Series season? So I think it's gonna heat up and get, I think, a lot more interesting as we roll on through this. But,
Yeah. Oh, well, Ross Craft point out Fox is owned by Disney, so Disney Plus, I guess, would count as
Fox. Not they only own Fox's movie.
Oh, okay,
department.
okay. Well, thank you for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
But I think that covers it. I think we can get into the last little segment before we get into Netflix Good Racing and Rain.
No,
that is
the Netflix series.
And that is our top 75 list. So I'm going to actually get all of these graphics off the screen so that we can get on into it. Last week we went over 71 through 75. You can see our in-depth thoughts on that on the last episode, as well as the Clips channel. But to kind of recap it for you, 75 was William Byron, 74 was Bob Wellborn, Marshall Teague, 73rd, Daryl Derringer, 72, and Ryan Blaney, 71. If you don't hear your driver at this point that you think should be down here, they were probably an honorable mention if mentioned at all. So, guys, should we get on into this?
Oh,
real quick. I want to say something. Last week, I was shocked, Danny, and I want to praise your objectivity. I actually had Alex Bowman ranked higher or better than you did.
I heard that.
I have to commend you. That took impressive. I don't know, willpower.
Yeah, I had him at 71. Had him just in between Ryan Blaney and Kyle Petty.
And I think I had him. Yes, I had him right in there as well. Yeah.
Well,
I think I had him at like 68 or 9.
Well, it's funny that you mention Kyle Petty, because he is number 70 on our list. You can see on the screen here. You'll see where everybody ranked Kyle Petty as well. We have him 70th on the aggregate list. Darian and I had him 68th. Danny and Eric had him 72nd. The chat agreed with us. So we had a happy middle ground here at 70th. Looking at Kyle Petty's career, I want to mention this. Kyle Petty's career, in my opinion, is very overshadowed in the sense that you have him as the son of the king. So anything he really does is never going to match up to his father or his legendary grandfather in Lee Petty, who was also on this list. So one of 3 Pettys on this list that we'll talk about. But looking at some of the highlights of his career here, he was top 5 in the points in 92 and 93, finished 5th both seasons, was part of that 92 championship battle at Atlanta. He has 8 career wins. He won the 1987 600, was it?
87. Yeah, 87
600.
Yeah.
He was also really, really good at Rockingham from the late 80s to early 90s, which was a cheese grater on tires. Really good drivers won there, and he won there multiple times, 2 or 3 times, I have to say. So Kyle Petty, he's 70, according to what everybody kind of voted on. Guys, why would we put Kyle Petty on here, I guess?
I like how there was 2 of us that said 72, 2 that said 68, plus a chat 68, which made him 70.
Yeah. Kyle Petty's career speaks for itself. Obviously, by comparison, I mean, he's the 3rd generation Petty. So whatever he does, I mean, like, even if he won a championship, it would pale in comparison to his grandfather and father. I mean, they're both Hall of Famers, both pioneers of the sport, basically. And, basically, so whatever he did by comparison wasn't going to be enough. But I mean, overall, when you look at his career, I mean, 829 races ran over a 30-year span. Now, the peak of his career, I'd say, really took place in the 90s when he teamed up with Felix Sabates. But I mean, before that, ran some races for Petty Enterprises, and then joined up with the Wood Brothers and stuff. It took him a while to get that first career win. I mean, he was a late bloomer in a sense. But once he hooked up with Felix Sabates in the early 90s, man, that team, I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, the mellow yellow cars still remember. I mean, like, obviously,
it's some iconic schemes.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, the problem with people our age that might think that Kyle Petty wasn't good is because we only saw him in the 45. His run at Sabco was so, like, honestly great. Like, almost had championship caliber speed at some points. And
yeah, no, he
did. That's if he had retired like in the 90s when he was probably at his peak, I think he could honestly be considered higher on his list. But because of how and it sucks the reason he got into the 45. But the reason he got into the 45 and it lasted for so long, in my eye of his career overall, it brought it down.
Yeah. So I
He
mean, when
was
you look at
gonna.
when you look at his stats on paper and stuff, I mean, like after his peak years with Sapco Racing, which was like 92 and 93, then yeah, you started to see a downtick in performance. And he even said publicly at the time when he was like mentoring Adam Petty, like, hey, look, like I know I'm driving for Petty Enterprises now, but basically the role is like, I'm basically going to get out of the car and I'm just helping Adam at this point. And after Adam Petty passed away, unfortunately, in 2000, I mean, he could have just stopped racing altogether. Kyle Petty could have, and it would have been totally understandable. But he wanted to take that team to Cup, in honor of his son, and he ran that, and he ran the 45 all the way up until 2008. So that's a pretty good story.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't he gonna retire around the time that Adam was supposed to jump in the car?
I think so, yeah.
After after the 99 2000 season, basically. So because Adam Petty was supposed to get in the Cup Series at the beginning of 2001, so I would assume after 2000 it would have been official. He was like sort of running part-time on and off in the Cup Series at that point as well. So yeah, when you look at his career overall, though, I know people may not agree with his opinions and this and that, especially this was said, especially when he was becoming a commentator on Speed. Oh, why is Kyle Petty on there? He's a bum and stuff. Like, no, when you look at his career overall, he was far from a bum. He was pretty respectable.
Solid.
Yeah,
he was solid. But like
solid.
Jared said, he had very, very difficult shoes to fill. But I think, you look at I pull up the basic stats. He's 67th on the all-time wins list, and we all have him in the high 60s or low 70s. He's right there in the mix. I think he's ranked about where he should be.
Yeah. Well, moving from the 70s to the 60s, we got the nice rank here of 69th all-time.
What an honor.
Yes, this driver.
Nice.
This driver only raced in the Cup Series for 4 seasons.
Oh, I like this one. I like this one.
And I'll read a couple of his accolades here. He won 14 times, all between 1965 and 1967. 9 of those wins came in 65. Was second in points to Ned Jarrett that same year. We're going with Dick Hutcherson, who Darian and I actually did have as honorable mentions, probably due to longevity, whereas Danny and Eric had 58th all-time. And the chat has an honorable mention.
Damn.
Looking at some of the other points here, while finishing second to Ned Jarrett in 1965, he also finished third in the points in 1967. And like I said, only raced from 1964 to 1967. So that is definitely an interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
See,
I have first off, so I have him high. He did win 14 races in a very short amount of time. You just mentioned that he was Rookie of the Year, and what I found interesting going back and looking at, as you mentioned, finishing second to Ned Jarrett, that was his rookie season technically in the Cup Series. He shows up and he's second in points. He drove, for Holman Moody back in the day, so he had good cars. Don't get me wrong, but to win 14 times in 103 races.
That's
I mean,
impressive.
I like to talk about ratios. And I think he definitely deserved a spot on this list. I'm actually surprised Danny agrees with me that he was so high. I'm trying to remember why I put him so high. I got to look at some of the other names behind him.
I think it was mainly just because of where he was on the wins list for me, that I think he fit into that category, but because of how little he did race, and especially at a time where, this is a time where I think, honestly, there's so many guys that just didn't have the greatest equipment, but then there's a lot of guys that, like Petty, that just had great equipment, could do every race, where a lot of guys just couldn't afford to go do every race, and he's out there doing the best he can, and, he wins 14 of 103. I think there's a lot to be said about that, so that's why I had him up in the 50s.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a fool for not having him in my top 75. I mean, at least I had him in the honorable mentions. But yeah, I mean, there were some guys that I had on that, were in the Cup Series so far that we've gone over for a very short time span. But averaging all of the lists combined and stuff out together, I am glad he's on this list. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, 22 poles and 14 wins from 1964 to 1967. And also, too, I mean, his post NASCAR career as well is very interesting. In 1968, he appeared in the Elvis Presley stock car racing movie Speedway, which is very funny. So like he stopped racing NASCAR, but then he appears in the movie afterwards. And then in 1976, he unretired to drive in the 24 hours of Le Mans again. So, very renowned racer overall. But yeah, I mean, like looking at his stats too, I mean, he drove for, looks like, yeah, I mean, like he drove for Holman Moody twice in the span of 3 seasons, two seasons in 3 years combined. But I mean, in that short time span, wow, that's a lot of races and a lot of wins in a very short time span.
I think part of the honorable mention, if I'm going back to my thinking, I gotta remember this was like 2 months ago I made this.
Yeah, I ran it so early.
I think part of that was, I think, longevity, in the sense a lot of these people do have careers that do last longer, bigger impact. I think I will say, I think I had a little bit of recency bias on this when I looked at 80s, 90s on up. And that was one that I think to sort of, I guess every list had, I think a few of us had people that fell through the cracks or we forgot. And I think that might have been probably one of them for me.
I would have forgotten this guy if like I did, like what Danny says. I did look at the all-time wins list, the all-time champions list, and I kind of started there. And it's like this guy jumps out at you with 14 wins. So I was like, who is this dude? And I looked him up and I saw short window, but he did a lot in a fairly short window. He deserves to be in here somewhere. That's the way I saw it.
I had said earlier, I think if Kyle Petty's career had been shorter, maybe I'd have him higher. But because he went for so long, it ultimately dragged him down for me. So a guy like this, a shorter amount of time to get things done, made his value go up for me.
Damn. Yeah, that's interesting how that works.
That's kind of how sometimes I feel like we think about it.
Yeah.
Good dude, getting his shout
getting
out.
His props. Yeah, getting his props. He passed away a long time ago.
Do you think he knew?
His props now.
Do you think he knew in the 60s that one day there'd be 4 20-something-year-olds in a Zoom call on the internet trying to like piece together his career highlights?
I'm sure he perfectly knew that.
Yeah, certainly did.
Did y'all realize number 69 is a man named Dick?
I wasn't going to point it out.
Damn.
I wasn't going to point it out.
Good one, Danny.
Now let's move a little bit on then from nice... Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
From nice Dick Hutcherson.
I'm about to hit 69,000 subs, by the way. Go subscribe.
To 68th all time, which is Paul Goldsmith. We all agreed to have him on our lists.
Yeah.
Paul Goldsmith, I want to say, is, I believe, the oldest living member of our top 75 list. He is 97 years old. I got it. Yeah, he's 97. 9 wins. 5th in points in 1966, and he won the final race at the Daytona Beach course. So that is another accolade that was very difficult to win in and of itself. So, guys, Paul Goldsmith, 68th all time, oldest member of our list.
Yeah,
looks like we're all kind of in agreement. We all have them in the mid 60 chats, a little lower, but
And now I know this isn't NASCAR, but he was a 2-time USAC stock car champion on the Daytona Beach road course. Yeah, so I mean, like back in those days too, like USAC. I mean, like I wouldn't say they were on the same level as NASCAR and stuff, but I mean, NASCAR wasn't the juggernaut it is today in terms of stock car racing yet. So, there were still some very competitive guys in that series. But yeah, looking at his career and stuff, I mean, his last win at Bristol, winning at some old tracks like Langhorne, I see. Oh, Langhorne. Damn, that's right. NASCAR did used to race at Langhorne. That was like one of the most famous IndyCar tracks in its heyday, man. Well, that's crazy. I didn't know that. But yeah, no, he raced 127 races over an 11-year span. And, in this few times he raced, he was superb. For sure. That's why he's on this list. Now, another thing, too, one of his most famous victories took place in the 1953 Daytona 200, which is a motorcycle event that takes place there at the Speedway. So, it was cool. On the beach.
I believe Noah Coleman in the chat kind of alluded to this. I believe he was also one of the fighter pilots from the original crop of NASCAR drivers. Many drivers came over from World War II who were fighter pilots in the military. And kind of getting that fix in, getting that need for speed, using that experience, would come over and become stock car racers or just race in general anywhere they could. But Yeah, I mean, and like he also says in here, Langhorne was also very deadly. Too.
Yeah, very deadly. And also, he competed in 3 Indianapolis 500s from 1958 to 1960. That's
Very
another fact.
versatile driver overall.
Yeah.
I think
Well, really, I feel like that's the theme of this list. Like some of these drivers that you never really have like heard of in a while and stuff. Like, you know, you look back at their careers and you're like, damn, they raced Le Mans, they raced Formula One, they raced in IndyCar. Like, very, very crazy list we have so far.
And what's interesting too about how we all ranked him is Darian had him 69th, I had him 64th, Danny 66th, Eric 68th for Eric, and 72nd for the chat. So everyone had him. I mean, he was on.
He was in this. We were within a pretty similar range. So
yeah, I want to say he was on just about every list that somebody sent in for the chat picks.
Yeah,
consistent.
It's like where I had him on my list, and it's funny seeing this now. I would definitely have this other guy a little bit higher, but he had lesser wins back then. I had him in between Cotton Owens and William Byron. So,
what an interesting trio.
Yeah, what an interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some in the chat too. I mean, some I guess I'd say this in the chat. If you're upset with the way that y'all pick, y'all should have set in better lists.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm on one tonight, man. But yeah, Paul Goldsmith, 68. Now, guys, if we're able, let's move on to the next driver on the list. This driver is more of a modern driver, 67th on the list. And I think in many ways due to his versatility as well as his ability to really shine on the big stage, 67th all time on the top 75 list here is Jamie McMurray.
Little Jamie baby.
Jamie baby. So, what's up?
Looking at how this one was kind of parceled out, Darian and the chat agree on 66th. I had him 72nd all time, really towards the end of my list. Danny had him nicely in 69th, and Eric had him 62nd all time.
So I was thinking about this earlier today. I do want to bump. I feel like retroactively, if I could, I would bump him a couple of slots because I do hold. He gets to Roush when Roush was at their height of their peak, and maybe the situation wasn't great, but I do think the way he kind of struggled in that car early on, I do hold that against him slightly. He was younger then, but I want to point that out. I think 62nd might be a little high. I'm looking at my list again. I'd bump him down to 65 probably on my list.
Well, looking at his accomplishments, what I have really written down is just those big moments. Because if you remember McMurray's career in Cup, it started out with that subbing spree, and like, what would you call it? The time he subbed in for Sterling Marlin in 2002, and he won a race at Charlotte, which
in his second start.
Yeah, in his second start is impressive. But he beat Bobby Labonte, who was like a mile and a half god at the time.
Yeah. And he was the 2000 champion as well, so we won a championship recently.
When you also look at his career too, while he did have 7 wins, 2 of those of 3 that came in 2010, you had, of course, Charlotte again, which is pretty big. But he won the Brickyard 400, beating, I believe, Kevin Harvick. And he won the Daytona 500 that year, holding off the likes of Kevin Harvick again, Dale Jr., Greg Biffle.
He was inches away from winning Talladega.
Yeah, that was close. Yeah. Could have 4 wins.
Definitely a really good super speedway driver, but I don't want to overlook his consistency at the end of his career. He was a solid playoff contending driver for the last couple years of his career, including 15 through 17 when he made it.
He pointed his way in a lot.
Yeah, pointed his way in, and I believe in 2015 was that close to making it to the round of 12 over Dale Jr., who had a great season, and they raced, I believe, in the top 5 for that position at Dover.
Let's not forget also 2014, I think. He was the All-Star winner. Was it 14 he won?
Yeah, it was 14. Yep.
2014, he won the All-Star race.
He was also a Rookie of the Year. Sorry, I didn't know if somebody said that.
No,
he did win
Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
But even then, going back all the way to 2002, okay, so that 40 car at that time, I will say arguably was probably the best car in the entire field that season. And I think Marlin would have had a decent shot to go for a championship if his injury hadn't happened. So he got in that car and did exactly what it was supposed to do, go win a race. And The fact that you'll see rookies just hop into someone else's car. Well, like a Josh Berry hopped into Chase Elliott's car, got a second place. If you got a car that's that good, go prove what kind of driver you are and go win in that car. And he was able to do that.
Yeah, and Napa Racing Fan 927 puts in here that these, the wins, there was a very heavy super speedway bias of wins in his career. Daytona 500 to a Talladega, but he won at the Brickyard. He won twice at Charlotte, so there was still really good showings by him. He was able to, I guess, rise to the occasion.
Oh yeah, when it mattered the most. I mean, like, just looking at those resumes, I know some are going to look at, well, only 7 victories. I mean, well, come on, man. 2 of them Daytona 500s, one of them the Brickyard 400, one of them the All-Star race,
one Daytona 500.
Or excuse me, one. Excuse me.
I mean, that's why I had him high. Is again, we talked about this in the last episode where I had Austin Dillon in my top 75. You look at the races he's won. You win a couple of crown jewel events. Most eyeballs are on you. Everyone brings their best stuff, gives it their best effort. You win a couple of crown jewels, throw in an all-star race as well for Jamie McMurray. And I think that's, he doesn't have the most wins on this list, but he's got some very important.
That paired with his consistency, I think is a perfect spot for McMurray. 67. That's perfect.
Well, let's execute order 66. 66, then the final driver that we will talk about tonight on our top 75 list is Cotton Owens. Owens was ranked very similarly, I'd say, by all 5 of us on the list. Darian had him at the lowest at 72nd. I had him highest at 63rd, but there's a very even middle ground. Danny and Eric, 65th for Cotton Owens. And the chat, this is your nice 69th pick. So, looking at Cotton Owens' career, 9 wins and 160 starts. He had the first ever 100 mile per hour average speed for a winner on sand in NASCAR history, winning the race, I believe, by 55 seconds. He was second in the points to Lee Petty in 1959, and outside of NASCAR was known as the King of the Modifieds. So, Cotton Owens, 66th.
Yeah, I mean, like, his career, I mean, looking at his overall statistics, I mean, 160 races over a 15-year span, spanning from 1950 to 1964, before he took over as a full-time owner. But I mean, 9 victories, 84 top 10s, 10 poles, finished second in the points in 1959. Just in the 1959 season alone, he attempted 37 races, total of 22 top 10s, 13 top 5s. Was certainly one of the most productive cars that season with 4 wins. But also, I mean, his driving career is definitely stands out. But I mean, really, I know him mostly as an owner. That's probably why I had him the lowest, because
probably why he's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Because I mean, I'll just list off a few of the drivers he's that have had the privilege to drive for him. David Pearson won 2 championships with them, I believe, or at the very least 1. Buddy Baker, Pete Hamilton, Marty Robbins. Some of y'all will get the meme. Ralph Earnhardt, Bobby Isaac, Junior Johnson, Benny Parsons, Fireball Roberts, Mario Andretti, Charlie Glutzback, and even Al Unser, totaling 32 victories and 29 pole positions. I'm sorry. All those, all of their stats combined total to that. But in total, his owner statistics, 41 wins, 38 poles in just under 500 races.
As a driver, his first career win, I believe, came on the Daytona road course, which is kind of a fun fact.
Yes, Daytona Beach, 1950, or no, the 1957. Yeah, 1957.
I think I read that somewhere when I was doing research.
1957. You're right.
I had that in my notes.
Yeah, no, his first start was in 1950 on the Daytona Beach course, and his first win was 1957 on the Daytona Beach course.
I think we all have him ranked pretty similarly and pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
I'd say though that that about sums it up. One last time. To let you all know here who we got before we finish it up. Kyle Petty in 70th. Dick Hutcherson, 69th. Nice. Paul Goldsmith, 68th. 67th. Little Jamie baby, Jamie Mack. Then 66th, Cotton Owens.
I'm curious, and don't need to tell why, but is there anyone from your all's personal what would be 66 through 70. Is there anyone in there that we didn't mention? Because for me, I've got Ryan Blaney, AJ Foyt, and William Byron in that list.
Let's see. I
have Byron. I do
ahead.
have Byron in 68. I don't know if I talked about this last week. I had Blaney at 71. I'm not sure. We might get to him later on. I don't know. I don't remember what the full list looks like. But I have Byron as my 69th.
I don't have the list really pulled up at this point just because I got everything else. But
Yeah.
and probably there are probably also some that are later on in it. But
I feel bad I had AJ Foyt at 68, and he's such a respected person in motorsport, but his NASCAR career wasn't really much. So
Yeah.
but we do have 65 through 61 coming next week, so there's going to be some pretty fun drivers to talk about in that one. I will let you know that.
Yeah.
But that about covers it for this. I'm seeing people asking, so I'll leave the poll in the chat, yes or no. Should we make an NWP Discord?
Oh, hey, I've been running a Discord for a while now, so if we do, then I'll be all over that for sure.
I don't really use Discord that much, but hey, if people enjoy it,
That's what the kids are on these days. Got to appeal to these kids.
I'm almost 30. I'm almost a boomer, guys.
Well, we'll see what you guys think about that and go from there. But guys, we've got a weekend coming up.
Oh yes,
We've got the greatest day coming up in racing and motorsports and whatever you want it to be. So let's get on into it. How about that?
Let's
get
do
into it. We'll put this back up. We'll put that back up. But looking at this weekend, we're gonna at least have some notes about the 600 weekend in Charlotte. The triple truck challenge is this weekend, meaning no Cup drivers are allowed in the truck race. So know that when you have your picks ready to go. Alex Bowman is back in the 48. I don't know if they've said yet whether or not it's just like for the first stage and then Barry jumps in, or if it's for the full race. But either way,
they're planning on him doing the whole thing.
They're kind of advertising as he's back. So
Yeah.
He ran 170 laps at North Wilkesboro yesterday.
And I just gotta say this. I saw Alex climbing into the pit box at Darlington when we were there, and he looked a little stiff when he was going up to me. So maybe wonder if he's really all the way there. So
that's what I'm thinking too. But one other thing, the backwards 48, the 84, which knowing his luck probably will end up backwards at some point. Jimmy Johnson is back.
Jimmy Johnson's just going to be running that thinking, damn, I wish this was a freaking Toyota already. Can't wait.
If I was him, I would just go half throttle that whole first lap and just survive it. Like, even if you're 5 seconds behind the field, at least you made it a lap this time.
Just go half throttle and just be like, hey, see, it's all Chevy. This is why we're moving.
There'll probably be rain, so just drag until the competition caution. Just play it safe.
Well, kind of going in chronological order this weekend. The truck race is the North Carolina Education Lottery 300, 134 laps with 2 30-lap stages to start it and a 74-lap stage to end it at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. And I believe MRN is the one that covers all the truck races. Defending winner of this is Ross Chastain. Weather actually looking kind of pleasant, 72, mostly cloudy, 25% chance of rain. Honestly, not terrible.
I don't think I remember Ross Chastain winning this.
I don't remember the race in general. I'll be honest.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember either.
The Xfinity race is the Allsco Uniforms 300. It is 200 laps. 45, 45, 110 are the stages. Starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1 and PRN. Defending winner is Josh Berry. As for the weather, it gonna rain.
Oh, God. That's not good.
So there is that to look forward to. As for the 107th Indy 500 is 200 laps. Start time tentatively it said would be at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not noon, on NBC and Peacock. Defending winner is Marcus Ericsson, correct?
Yep, Marcus Ericsson.
I got it right this time. And then the weather is 79 degrees and pleasant, only a 15% chance of rain.
Gonna be a fun weekend. For sure.
And then after you watch the Netflix race, you watch the Indy 500, you have the Coke 600, 400 laps with 4 100-lap stages starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox and PRN, Big Fox. Defending winner is Denny Hamlin, and, well, once again, it gonna rain.
It's gonna rain all weekend.
84% chance of rain. That bodes well for Jimmy Johnson,
Yeah,
maybe.
hey, it's better than 98% on Saturday.
98% Saturday and 84% Sunday.
Put it like this: I'm doing some fishing this weekend. Don't think I'll be missing the races either.
Yeah, might not miss a whole lot, but we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll see.
So glad that we could have Ollie make a bit of a special appearance on that one. Darian, speaking of some special stuff coming up, who do you got possibly winning our viewers some money?
Oh, man. Well, the betting odds, they're pretty obvious who they're pulling for this weekend. As for the favorites, Kyle Larson enters this weekend as the clear-cut number one. Usually sometimes during weeks, it varies, but no, it's pretty obvious as he enters this weekend at plus 450. And in second is William Byron at plus 600. So they really are like, yeah, Kyle Larson, they feel like is a shoo-in to win this race. Denny Hamlin's in third at plus 700. Martin Truex Jr. fourth at plus 850. And rounding out the top five is Ross Chastain at plus 900. As for the best of the rest, Chase Elliott is also plus 900. Kyle Larson is not Kyle Larson, excuse me. Kyle Busch is plus 1100. Christopher Bell plus 1200. Tyler Reddick plus 1600. And Kevin Harvick plus 1800. As for the underdogs, Bubba Wallace at plus 2000. Brad Keselowski at plus 4500. Ty Gibbs at plus 5500. Austin Dillon, a former winner of the Coca-Cola 600 at plus 9,000. And of course, another former winner, one of the greatest drivers ever, Jimmy Johnson at plus 1,500. If this were 2014, my bad, 15,000, excuse me. If this were 2014, those odds would be ridiculous. But for 2023, they're just right, in my opinion. So let's see if he makes it past the lap.
And the thing about this week, too, is Darian, I'm assuming they didn't earn points for fantasy, so no update on the fantasy this week, right?
Yep, I was just about to say, yeah, no updates, because obviously it was an all-star race, so there's no reason to play fantasy, not keeping track of points. So you have a chance to get more points this weekend, because I believe NASCAR Fantasy this year is finally going to count that final, that extra stage in the Coca-Cola 600. Yes. They usually don't, but I think they're finally going to add those points in. So if you want to earn some extra points, you can do so. Well,
speaking of points, let's look at our points, the pick points so far. And we're looking at Eric with the lead still at 243. The chat only 3 back. Darian 34 back in third. I'm 37 back in fourth. And Danny now only 43 back in fifth. I want to point this out as well, just because I have it written down here. So far this year, Eric has 2 Cup wins, 3 Xfinity, and 1 truck. Chat, you got 2 Cup wins, 3 Xfinity, and 2 truck wins. Darian has 1 Cup and truck win each, and 3 Xfinity wins. And while I don't have a Cup win yet, I have 4 Xfinity wins and 1 truck win. And Danny doesn't have a Cup win either, but he has 2 Xfinity and 2 truck wins. So overall, we have picked pretty accurately for a lot of the series compared to what is normal for us to do.
But damn, everyone's so close.
The basement is not that far off the field.
Yeah, I was just about to say, look, everyone's so close. Obviously, Eric and the chat are a lot closer to each other. But I mean, look, I'm only 34, Jared's only 37, and Danny's 43. I mean, I know Danny's in the basement, per se, but I mean, he's still only 43 points out of the lead.
It's really not the basement. It's like Eric and the chat are upstairs, like chilling in the game room, and we're in the first floor, like sitting in the living room.
I'll put it like this. If you're basically like way, way back, let's say like minus 100, minus 200, then yeah, you're in the basement at that point. But I mean, since it's so close, is it really
a one-story house right now? It's
now
everyone's in different parts of the room, I guess.
This might change this weekend because we don't have 3 races to pick. We have 4. We got the trucks, Xfinity, Indy 500, and 600. Chat, your Indy 500 pick is up there at the moment. Is Kanan?
Interesting. Hey,
that's pick.
I mean, he's not terrible, but I mean, he's only running part-time, and this is his final Indy 500.
We'll let it run through the end of the show at that point, but let's get this show on the road for the picks. Eric, give me the truck winner this week.
We're starting with truck. Oh, okay. All right. Man, I am this is a tough weekend to pick because as several in the chat have noted, and you just noted, Jarrett, there are a lot of points on the line. It's Heim time, boys. Corey Heim.
Yeah, great minds think alike, I guess. I was going to go with Corey Heim as well.
Wow, yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with Zane Smith on this one.
That was my second pick.
I thought about it.
y'all really just left me and Jarrett Zane, where I'm going to Zane as well.
Oh, Eric, we're in a pack together. I wonder where the chat's gonna go now.
Two-car
Chat.
tandem.
Jarrett, we're about to climb on up.
Oh man, we'll see.
Looking at the way we've been, Danny does have he is tied with the chat for most truck wins so far this year. So
Yeah.
Zane hasn't won on a mile and a half yet this year, though. I will say that.
Well, looking at the chat at the moment, which by the way, I'm going to end the poll right now. 78% want us to make a Discord.
Well, we'll look into it. I've been running my Discord. It's been working out well. So when we do make it, we'll let you know.
I think we're having it. I think we're going to have a poll here and we'll let it run. But I think we're going to have a poll here between 38 and the 42.
Yeah.
And by the way, change their IndyCar pick to award of a 10.01.
Oh, wow. It's funny. Hey, I'm very shocked the chat didn't go with Heim there. I guess they want to gain up on Eric, I guess. But
It's Heim time.
Okay. We'll see if it works out for you.
I feel good about it. I love Corey Haim's interviews. Do you guys ever hear him?
Yeah,
It is the most generic NASCAR driver interview ever. Every single time, he does not miss a beat. It's kind of impressive.
It's very interesting in the way they just says, the most generic stuff. So,
but he's over here like, our safe light TRD Toyota, blah, blah, blah. Like he just browses it off beautifully. I don't know how he does it.
He's got it, yeah.
But he does it in sleep.
And it looks like the chat's going with Zane Smith. It looks like.
Yeah, I think we can end that now. So let's go on over to the Xfinity race. Xfinity race picks. Eric, go for it.
What the hell's that laugh? What the hell?
Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Awesome evil.
Spider-Man.
Do you know what I've sacrificed?
I like we just quote Spider-Man. I am throwing it back to the year 2022. Ty Gibbs winning the Xfinity race.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in this race.
He's teamed up with Jason Ratcliffe. It's over, folks.
Oh damn, that's right.
But,
hey, look,
but he hopped into a race though this year and he didn't win it.
Yeah,
so.
hey, it's no guarantee. You know why? Because also my pick also drives for Joe Gibbs. John Hunter Nemechek. He's been pretty good this year, very good. Almost won at Darlington. Time for him to come back. He's gonna show out against Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Busch is also in the field as well. So
I want to see the 10 car and the 19 car side by side on the final lap.
That would be interesting. Take each other out, and then John Hunter Nemechek wins. I agree.
No. This week I want Ty Gibbs to win for my points, but that would be spicy.
Yeah.
Why is it spicy? I'm going Ty Gibbs too. I'm going Ty Gibbs. For all the reasons he gave, and just because I trust him in an Xfinity car.
Am I going rogue?
Yeah. No, you're not going rogue because I'm also John Hunter Nemechek. But I'd also thought about Kyle Busch, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, the 10 car just won, but it had to wreck the 20 to do it. And I trust Kyle Larson in that car more than I do Kyle Busch right now. So I'm going to John Hunter Nemechek.
All right, chat.
Now the chat, I saw some 20s jump in, but I really thought I saw a lot of ties to start with, and then it sort of tapered off.
Maybe a poll with the 19 and the 20, unless there's another number that's I'm missing. But
I mean, some put Kyle Busch, but I'll just put,
Yeah.
Are you sure those brownies weren't laced? Why is it spicy?
Yeah, I mean they look good on camera, Eric. I mean they look moist.
They were delicious. My compliments to the chef.
Well, I want to know how you're going to compliment your first two picks with the Cup Suck pick this weekend.
Oh yeah.
I hate to do this. This doesn't bring me any.
Why do you hate this? Why do you hate this? I love this segment.
I'm gonna hate mine too, so it's okay.
Sometimes I like it. Like I don't mind picking on. I don't mind picking on Ty Dillon another week, like the chat does. But this week I'm actually going Ryan Blaney. I don't really trust Penske. I think I picked a different Penske driver like 3 weeks in a row. It's Blaney's turn in the rotation. I'm going Blaney to suck.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe's my pick. I know I wanted Haas Racing to be back so freaking bad. And you know what? I know he just got a top 5 in the All-Star race, but leading up to that, man, oh my gosh. I mean, they were falling off a cliff in some of these races, it felt like. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to turn it around still, Chase Briscoe. Sorry, buddy.
I'm gonna go with AJ Allmendinger. He has been one of my biggest disappointments this year.
Yeah.
All racing just in general.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think a really long race with a team that has been subpar this year compared to how I think it should be. I don't think it'll be very good. Now maybe attrition will help, but
it's gonna be hell.
I don't see him. He's looking forward to the next Charlotte race.
Yeah.
I mean, just basically going in all those reasons, it's 600 miles, and I said I don't know if his back is all the way there yet, and so I'm gonna have to go with Alex Bowman on this one because I just don't. It sucks that his first race back has got to be an 800-mile race, but at the same time, they look at the points; they're only 5 points out of the playoffs, so it's tempting to get in there. So I hope he's good. Hopefully, he makes it just fine. But I just don't think he's gonna run well.
Also, it looks like Harrison Burton is the chat suck pick.
Oh, really?
I
thought
would
it
have
was
said
Johnson
Jimmy.
at first.
I think
Yeah,
it's
thought it was
Johnson.
Johnson at first. Yeah, that's
I mean,
what
we
it
can
looked
put
like
Jimmy.
at first.
It doesn't matter. We'll put Jimmy. And then they picked the 20 to win by like a 55-45.
Going with me. Let's do it.
No,
Let's
they're
do
going
it.
against
Me and Danny.
Eric. They're not going with you.
Me and Danny. Let's do it.
Why would you pick against the points leader, chat? That doesn't seem like a wise strategy.
All right, dark horse time.
All right.
Gosh, this sucks, man. I was so close.
Every pick sucks. What's wrong
I know
with you?
this pains me. I told you I stressed about these. I was this close to picking this guy to win.
Oh,
Bubba Wallace. That's my dark horse. He's finished 4th and 5th the last couple weeks. He was really good at the last mile and a half, Kansas, 4th and 5th the last 2 weeks, but he was 2nd in the All-Star race. So he's, I kind of talked about earlier. I'm throwing my pens all over the place. He is peaking at the right time. And he could easily go out there and win this thing, but it is 600 miles. I don't know if I trust Bubba to be disciplined enough to be there at the end and make the right adjustments into the evening. So I'm going with someone else, but Bubba is my dark horse still.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs, another Toyota driver. I mean, up to the All-Star break, I mean, he's been extremely consistent, racking off those top 10 runs. And then the Dover race really impressed me. Would have easily finished inside the top 5 if he had enough field there at the end. But, he's been one that's really impressing me lately. He's going to be running in the Xfinity Series race as well. Might help out a little bit there to have some more on-track time. But yeah, Ty Gibbs, I think he's on pace to have a solid run.
Well, I mean, there is Ty Gibbs being pretty solid so far, but it is still a 600-mile race. But I'm going to go with Eric on this one. I don't want to bet too much against the hot hand because Bubba has been pretty good this month. I'm going to give Bubba Wallace a shot. I think that team will be fast. I know with Tyler Reddick, they should be fast, but that 23 has seemed pretty fast. I think a mile and a half would suit this team very well. And I think if they're able to outlast what carnage there could be, or on top of anything else, what rain there could be on possibly Sunday and Monday, it looks like. I think they could have a shot at winning this race, a real shot, not just they're there shot, a real shot.
And then for mine, so Todd Gillen is actually in the 51, meaning that the 38 is actually being driven by Zane Smith. And Zane Smith is him going for my underdog. I feel like with him behind the wheel, getting, the truck race experience there, I feel like he could actually survive 600 miles and maybe even bring in a top 20 or even top 15 run in that car.
And looking at the chat, I mean, now I'm seeing 23s, but it was a lot of 6s I noticed.
Yeah, first.
I saw a lot of 6 and 48.
I'll just put Brad in there for him. That way, if they want to have any out of nowhere picks, we'll go from there. Yep. But now, not the 600, but you get to do it twice this episode. So one a year, you get to do it twice, Darian.
Yes. Now for the main event. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? That's Charlotte, Eric.
No, Indy.
Or
Jesus.
Indy. Damn it!
I teed you
Indy,
up.
Eric.
I teed you up, and you fucking went off the cliff.
At Indy, Eric.
How many points do we get for this?
Well, just like a cup race.
Oh, there's more stakes involved than I thought. All right, then I am gonna.
I thought it was gonna be like one point.
Nah,
like the SRX.
Just like the 600. So one weekend a year that is way more weighted than it should be.
It's a good thing I studied up by watching the most recent David Land videos before doing this.
And for the chat, this is literally determined by money.
No,
Yeah, and now it's 15 for Palou.
They got that's a good pick. That's a good pick, though. That's a good pick, y'all.
Well, damn, great minds think alike. I'm going with the heavy favorite. It seems he won the poll. Alex Palou is going to win this thing. What was it? David said in his video, I think 21 Indianapolis 500s have been won from the poll. I like those odds. That's almost a 20%, average. So I'll take that. I think Alex Palou, this is the year he gets it done.
You're going with one of the youngest superstars. I'm going with another young superstar as well, Pato O'Ward. I know somebody had said Ward earlier in the show and immediately thought of Ward Burton. No, this is a new generation of a type of award. In this case, an award, a Pato Award. But he's not only one of the most popular drivers in the sport, but he's one of the best as well, and finished second in the Indy 500 last year. If he didn't finish second, he at least podiumed. I remember he was in contention in the late stages of last year's race as well at times. But yep, I'm gonna go with Pato O'Ward to bring it home for Arrow McLaren.
I also studied up a bit of David Land videos, and O'Ward was somebody from even all the way back in April he was mentioning a lot. So I'm gonna go with that as my pick as well, Pato O'Ward.
And I'm with Eric on this one, going with Alex Palou.
And we'll leave the chat one up. It goes till we'll finish up the super chats because I'm going to be looking at it more at that point. But at the moment, they're sitting at Palou. So now, Darian, teeing you up even more.
Who's gonna win at Indy? I'm playing. And who's gonna win? Chat and Eric, who's gonna win at Charlotte?
I'm riding the Toyota bandwagon. I didn't realize this until just now, but I'm looking at my picks. I picked a Toyota for trucks, Corey Heim, a Toyota for Xfinity with Ty Gibbs. I would have picked a Toyota to win the Indy 500 probably if there'd been one in the field. I'm going, and again, this was close, but I'm going Martin Truex Jr. There've really only been 2 mile-and-a-half races this year, like traditional mile-and-a-half races, Vegas and Kansas. And Truex was top 10 in both. He led 79 laps a few weeks ago at Kansas, led a few laps at Vegas as well. So I just feel like, I still have flashbacks to, was it 2016 or 17, where he led almost every single lap of this godforsaken 600-mile race. Like this feels like a Martin Truex Jr. kind of night. So I like that pick.
Hendrick Motorsports, they're on one currently. I know Larson's the favorite. I get all that. But I had said this driver, come late May, early June, he'll hit his stride again, and he'll be that championship contender that we've seen for years. Chase Elliott is back in victory lane. First win of the 2023 season.
He's been close in this one before.
Well, I mentioned earlier that this race has 4 stages, Darian, and I just want to point out Chase Elliott 63 points back. The most points you can make up in this race is 69. He could mathematically be in the playoffs after this race.
And it's been how many races since he's been back? Like what?
5.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it has been crazy. But for me, I'm going to go, again, got to stick with the hot hand, and I would have picked Bubba if it wasn't for this hot hand. I am going to go with Kyle Larson. It is very much feast or famine, but Kyle Larson right now I think is on the verge of feasting. And what a better feast than the longest race that NASCAR has.
He's won Coke 600 before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if he won it in 2021 or not.
No, didn't he win it last year? Or
no, Hamlin won it last year.
Oh, Hamlin won it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I'm with Jarrett. Kyle Larson all the way on this one. He's gonna get the Carolina sweep, if you will. Almost had it with the South Carolina one too.
And chat, I saw a lot of 5s.
Yeah, they're going to Kyle.
Yeah,
Larson.
I think Larson's the pick. Now,
I've seen a few scattered here and there, but it's mainly been 5.
Now their IndyCar pick was funny at first. It was funny, and then I see Alex brought him back to a more realistic pick. I see now.
It's a battle between the 2 favorites that we got and a wild card thrown in here or there.
I do kind of wish they would have that Graham Rahal.
Yeah, I know. That would have been hilarious. Yeah, but no, Chad's going with 5. Pretty obvious. Just put Larson down for him.
Yeah.
We shall see, chat. I don't like picking against Larson, though. I am a little scared.
Yeah, I'm a little scared too.
Chat, you don't have long for this to be in there, because basically we just got to get through the rest of the show, and then your pick is locked in.
Yep. Time for the rest of the super chats.
So, yes, back to the rest of the super chats. The second super chat stage break. We'll start from Spencer, who's been a member for 23 months. Thank you very much, Spencer. Vroom, vroom. It's the biggest weekend of the year. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Netflix.
No, not a lot of Netflix and chilling.
A lot of Netflix and rain. Bailey, thank you for the 5. Is Kevin Harvick having the best final season in recent memory? Yes, Gordon won Martinsville, but he doesn't win that race without Kenseth wrecking Joey.
But he also got to the championship 4. I think Harvick at least needs to get into the round of 8 this year for us to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Marky Mark for 5. Howdy, gents, and Eric.
Hi. I'm not a gent. What?
And we got a new leader.
Rice Crash Day. You did that for no reason.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Bro. Wait, why am I apologizing? I ain't even apologizing. Damn, that sucked.
All right. By the way, since we're reading the pick ones as we go, we will go past those through the super chats. I'll just mention them as we go. But it says, but Marky Mark continued. Coca-Cola 600 was a 10 out of 10. Should be a great race on Sunday or Tuesday. I had the Tuesday part. we might have a double header on Tuesday.
Yeah. Might have a Wednesday show, post-race show. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. No matter what, I will be streaming after all the races.
What did we do after Texas in 2020? What did we do then?
We literally watched the race in Zoom and then went straight into the stream.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember that. That's funny.
That was a fucking marathon. A marathon, sorry. I'm trying to hold it back. Beast of Metal 1989, thank you for the 10. Short track racing isn't dead, but it needs help, and the car isn't the primary problem. Chase Elliott, Martinsville, and the Open showed passing can be done. I think lack of consequences is the bigger issue.
It's like a dying plant. It just needs water and a little sunlight and some love, and it'll be good again.
Fred Dog 81, thank you for the 5. The return of North Wilkesboro was great. The All-Star race, not so much. It's now 4 different places for the All-Star races that don't work. Is it time to kill off the All-Star race?
Whoa, what? No, I don't agree with that, but I mean,
I don't know. I like having 2 exhibition races that we could mess around with, that we could do whatever we want on. You know, like you have the Clash at the beginning of the year that you can move to a different stadium, put it back in Daytona. Then you have an All-Star race in the middle of the season. Like, it kind of kills the regular season momentum a little, but I still like that we have 2 exhibition slots that we can mess around with.
Yeah, and you need a race to do all the freaking dumb, stupid tests anyways, right? For NASCAR, right? You need a testing ground.
I mean, my thought is if you make Wilkesboro a points race one day, why not have the All-Star race be the week of the 600, keep everybody in town for a Carolina swing, and NASCAR gets to compact the schedule and maybe make another bye week at some point of the schedule even too, and still end at the same time. That might...
Or return it to Texans so Sammy Hagar can say, stand down.
Oh man. Agent Boy Band.
Watch the first race at National Fairgrounds Speedway. They're going to incorporate music in some way.
Oh, they better not.
If the politicians allow it.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Agent Boy Band SLG, thank you for the 5. Would love to see Wilkesboro be a points race. Darlington in the spring to be the All-Star race. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Beast of Metal 1989, thank you for the 10. The Open had consequences. Don't show out. Your weekend is done unless you're Gregson. The All-Star race had $1 million, which to most of these drivers they make during endorsements. Blow raspberry.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I don't know. I think $1 million still matters a lot.
Yeah, it's still a lot. Yeah, it's still a lot of money.
I don't think there's. I think there's a lot of drivers, even in that field, that aren't making. Yeah, that would be a huge bonus at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Need for Speed 5353. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. Says praise Ty Dillon.
Ty Dillon praise again.
Red Dog 81. Thank you for the 5. With Larson joining 3 others as 3+ winners of the All-Star race, but all in different locations, can an argument be made for him as the best All-Star winner ever?
Who has the most All-Star wins? Is it Jimmy? I actually don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm gonna look it up actually.
There's three All-Star wins. You got to be in the mix. You know what I'm saying?
I would think so.
I think Jimmy. For some reason, I think Jimmy might have.
Jimmy has 4.
Okay.
So Jimmy's the current leader of 4. It looks like.
But
he won all his at Charlotte, right? So
yes.
I think there's an argument to be made that 3 at different venues is more impressive than 4 at the same one.
Yeah, I would agree. That's really impressive to have that.
Well, and Larson's 30. I mean,
still got a long time to go.
So, but to put it in perspective, though, Larson is currently 1 behind Jimmy Johnson. He is tied at 3 with Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Pretty exclusive list.
Is that your Mount Rushmore right there? Jimmy, Dale, Jeff, and Larson.
It has to be your All-Star Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, Petty.
behind them at 2 wins is Davey Allison, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, and Kevin Harvick.
All I'm saying is that in 2025, wherever they're racing the All-Star race, I'm picking Kyle Larson. 19, 21, 23, probably 25.
Sounds like a guarantee.
Bailey, thank you for the 2. This is an interesting one. I'm sure will definitely not make people raise an eyebrow. Says this race made me appreciate stages even more now.
Whoa. I mean, I liked
it. I can see what they're saying.
I get where they're coming from, but I don't think this track needed stages.
No.
Stir the pot.
Wasn't necessary.
8-bit Ghost Ripper Dragon. Thank you for the 5. Predict 3 in, 3 out for the 23 playoffs, and it's these drivers. Says 6, 14, 17, 9, 48, 54. I have the 9, 48, and 54 getting in. Who gets a win first, an RFK car or Bubba?
There's a lot of numbers being flung around. I think Ty Gibbs is trending a good direction, but I also think Bowman being only 5 points out and now back from injury, he probably gets in. So and Chase Elliott probably gets in as well. So I don't know about Ty. There may not be enough room for Ty.
I'll answer that last question. Who gets a win first, an RFK car or Bubba? I'll say Bubba on that one.
Yeah, I'm going with Bubba for now.
I think so too. And I like RFK.
Out of the drivers, Keselowski, Briscoe, Buescher, Elliott, Bowman, Gibbs, I'm going to go Bowman, Elliott, and Keselowski. Keselowski's doing way better than people think.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, same. Bowman, Elliott, Keselowski.
Chris, thank you for the 5. Just repave the place. Don't let SMI ruin this the way they ruined Bristol twice, Atlanta, Texas twice as well. Leave it alone.
I mean, it's 40+ years old, though.
No. Repave it. Don't mess with the configuration.
Don't
let the drivers
I
screw
agree.
it up.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, as cool as it would be maybe to add a little bit of banking, let's not do that. Let's just repave it.
Like, we just got it back, y'all. Like, I mean, let's just give it some time, see how it still races, you know?
Yeah. Triple P Productions, thank you for the 5. On my way to Charlotte for the Coke 600. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Don't worry. I'm at a Love's Travels shop as I send this, not driving. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I love Love's too. I love that.
I do too. It's one of the few places that sells AMP everywhere in the country. AMP, the energy drink that gave Dale Jr. sponsorship to start out and turns your pee neon yellow.
And plus, not to forget, if you're buying like a water or something like that, you can be reminded that Michael McDowell won a Daytona 500 one year.
Yeah, never forget.
McDowell supremacy. M. Martin fan for life. Thank you for the 2. Happy to North Wilkesboro to have North Wilkesboro back regardless.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Mr. Taco 6. Thank you for the 6. Keep North Wilkesboro as a points race, or as a place as points. Skip and eliminate the All-Star race format totally. With All-Star views low, it's time to put the old horse down.
Damn, they were like, nah, get rid of the All-Star race entirely.
Well,
it sounds like
I didn't think we are gonna take her out back.
It sounds like us in like 2018, to be honest.
To be completely fair, like after Wilkesboro, I don't know, man. We already have the Clash, and it's Maybe
Yeah,
made a much
I can
bigger
understand
deal.
that.
true. That
Yeah,
is
I can
true.
understand that. Yeah.
I've always wondered, do we need 2 all-star races? Because that's virtually what the
And-
Clash is.
It's like part of me thinks that the All Star should be to start the year because, in a way, it's kind of weird now that I think about it that someone's win from like way over a year ago now gets them in.
Yeah, that was weird that they didn't do it since the all-star race. It was 2022 in total.
Mhm.
Oh, got another one. Oh my
Good
God.
night, Scott Dixon is your Indy 500 pick.
I forgot how into it the chat is with this. That's right.
Looking
Wow.
at some others here. M. Martin fan for life. Thanks for the 5. To the guy on Bubba's radio after the race, there's no room for your backwards thinking in NASCAR anymore. You go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro.
The trailer park.
Jimmy, thank you for the 10. Hi, guys. That was a great race from Sunday. Also, the weather for this weekend is not looking great as of now.
Damn, that was a great race on Sunday. Hey, that was the
Also-
most positive we heard about it so far.
Also, sorry for being late for the show. I was just at a car show in my hometown tonight. That's pretty cool.
Oh, well, that sounds fun. Man, that's fun. That's fun.
A square 123 says for 10, being the noise, Bubba had a great behind the noise, Bubba had a great weekend. 5th in trucks, 2nd in cup, and won an Emmy for his Netflix documentary series. P.S.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Danny Bowman and Alex B. Talks.
But yeah, no, that they won the film for an award for that. It's cool.
Oh my God.
I still laugh at time someone called me Danny Bowman because I worked with a guy who was Danny Bowman.
That's right.
That's right.
Ross Crash Stain, thank you for the 2. Bubba's hand was just free listen. Hold on. Bubba's hand was just listening to Freebird.
Yeah, must have.
Josh, thank you for the 5. I guess we'll see what the softer compound does at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but I'd like to see a horsepower boost to at least 750 and see what happens. Garabuki, I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce your name, but thank you for the 20. A guy who works at my grocery store commented on my Chastain shirt today, saying how he saw some replays and likes how cool his driving is, and no one in my area watches NASCAR. Watermelon Man is reaching household name status.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah,
That's
that's cool
great
to
to hear.
see.
I mean,
yeah.
to be
That's
fair,
awesome.
To be fair, even my brother, who does not pay attention to NASCAR at all, has heard about Chastain now.
That's cool.
So-
nice. Keep doing your thing,
Yeah.
Chastain.
Take a look at what he did.
Take a look at what he did. Shorty PJM, thank you for the 5. 2 5s here. 1 of 2. Well, I'll just read them both back to back. Shows even after 9 straight Chastain hits, Bubba will always be the #1 punching bag. A chunk of those reasons, it'll never be right. All
Yeah.
the love to Mr. Wallace, and I still won this week. Bubba won an Emmy. Happy 33rd to my twins fave, Joey Logano, and Alex is back.
Nice.
Uh,
Very positive. Very
awesome.
wholesome.
Yes. Jupiter Rain, thank you for the 2. Heritage does not excuse racism and racist symbols. Gob, thank you for being a member for 3 months. Danny B spitting facts earlier.
He was.
Ah, crap, it just reset on me. Oh my God, come on.
Refresh.
Okay, got it. A squared 123. As a Bubba fan who has been to 2 races now, it's not safe at certain tracks. I've been heckled and even shoved for 2311 gear.
Oh, that's
That's not
terrible.
See,
That's
that's
Talladega.
not right. That's not right. You shouldn't
That's
have to
not
deal with that
right.
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not
And,
right
and,
at all.
and hey, if it happens again, honestly, find the police. Report it.
Yeah.
Find the police, bro.
You see how fast the police were on that fight in the stands? on
Yeah,
Sunday?
they were on that.
That's
They're
right.
around. You can hopefully find them. Security's
Yeah.
there.
Beast of Metal 1989, thanks for the 5. Given that some dumbbell who said he should be fired out of a cannon put this race on FS1 on a weekend where Trucks is on Big Fox, I say they pork themselves. Jupiter Rain, thank you for the 2. NASCAR should not listen to fans. It always fails.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah, I agree.
Gob, thank you for another 5. Enough nonsense. What kind of chicken they got down there? Good chicken. Good chicken.
Down
Chicken
where?
strips
In North Wilkesboro?
Chicken strips.
We went to Cookout after the race. I've never been to Cookout
Hey,
before.
isn't it great? Isn't it great?
That's pretty good.
It was it was cheap.
Yeah, that's the point. That's why it's so good, right?
It was good. I was like, what in the I got two chicken quesadillas, which being from Texas, these gave me a slight aversion, but they were fine. The French fries were delicious. I got fried cheese curds, that was delicious, and I got a cheerwine float, which was a little more ice cream than soda. It was like a bucket of ice cream with a little like drip drop of cherry flavored soda, but it was also pretty good. So I give it a solid, I don't know, 69 out of 100. It was very nice.
Can I take a second to point this out? I always thought that the way people talk about North Wilkesboro, it's just some tiny little like Mayberry or something like that. Man, this Wilkes County has over double the population of the county that I grew up in. I was thinking like they had like the sheriff and 5 people that worked in the county or something like that. And I looked it up and it was like this 65,000 people living there. I was like, what the?
Yeah,
everyone's talking like there's nothing there but a racetrack that no one likes.
And mountains.
Yeah.
Right, Eric? Lots of mountains.
It's like, are they hiding in the hills? Where are they at?
Holy shit. Oh, my God.
Hold on a second.
Updated again.
No, I accidentally pressed a button on a different window. I just needed to make sure that I got the line right. Let's see. Eric W, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Blake, thank you for the 2. Y'all see Brock Beard's video this weekend? No, I haven't, but I'll probably be checking it out.
I should.
I'll have to go to look.
Austin, thank you for the 5. Says he isn't a fan of Bubba after some of the stuff in 2020 and going on CNN. Though says that he does love us guys and thanks for the show. So again, I mean, if it's stuff that doesn't have to do with being terrible to the person, go ahead, like.
Yeah, like that's a valid reason to boo him, but the comments that he's getting, over the radio and stuff, that's like so much comments, just they cross the line.
Don't need that.
Alex, thank you for the 10. I'm going for Tony Kanaan to win his last Indy 500. Again, that was a Kanaan pick earlier. We're going to do through some of the picks, so we're going to go through quicker. Let's see. Hello, FR for 2. Larson shows why Chase is a shell compared to him. I'm not saying that. Chase is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like the Gordon versus Johnson conversation, in my opinion. Of course, I am, according to a lot of people, the number 1 Chase hater on YouTube. Ryan Idius. Thank you for the 220 Canadian. I see the Xfinity move as a high risk, high reward. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Garabugi again, if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you Gar. Gar for 5.
Gar.
It's cool to be living through the next big media switch, radio to TV, now TV to streaming. At the very least, younger fan viewership will soar. That's probably the plan.
Yeah.
Antardas, thank you for these 2 $5 super chats. Just finished my last final. Now time to get my annual Dixon winning the Indy 500 to only get cursed just like the Andretti's. Because I'm part of the orchestra at school. I'm playing at graduation, but how am I going to watch Monaco behind my stand when everyone is watching me? Just no remorse. Just do it.
Yeah, just start playing the F1 theme instead of whatever you're supposed to be playing.
Hey, just log into the Netflix account and just hit the race.
She ranked 244. Thank you for being a member for 6 months. We did run a poll for the Discord, as is what Trevor Bailey asked, and said hi to all 4 of us after being a member for 8 months.
Hi, Trevor.
Hello.
Hi. Let's see. Blue Jimmy 48 fan, thank you for the 5. Can't wait to get hopeful this weekend, only to end up crying in a corner yet again. Damn.
Yeah.
Like evil laughter.
Oh man.
Antar Das then also left after being a member for a month. Jimmy, don't waste your money on Dixon. He's cursed. Alessandro, thank you for the 5. Instead of Noah Gragson, Harrison Burton should have been voted in because he would have spun once or twice and made the All-Star race interesting.
Oh man. He did finish 6th. He got a top 10 in his last start at Darlington though. So at least he got that.
Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 5. How would a Cup Summer Series work for Amazon? How many races? Would Fox and NBC put more races on a big network if they had less races due to Amazon? I think They're all questions we're gonna have to find out.
That's a good question.
That's
I think they
interesting,
should
yeah.
do Hamlin's bracket challenge during the Amazon stretch.
Yeah, but I think it'll be sort of like what TNT did from 07 to 14, 6-race stretch during the summer.
Yeah. No, probably no big ones. I think the biggest race they'd probably have would be like Summer Atlanta.
Yeah.
Fred Dog 81, thank you for the 5. Does Larson still win if not for the caution? He was in the back and wasn't happy with his car setup early on before the yellow came out.
I don't know, the way he was passing, lapping people, I think he would have just worked.
See, I think he would have still won, but not by much, if that makes sense, I guess.
Weast, Virginia. I love that name. And it's Patrick from that episode is the profile pic. Weast, Virginia. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. With Barry to SHR, maybe, probably. Who gets the 8 for JRM?
I'd like to see Hocevar in that ride. Yeah, the funding's there. I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
That'd be an
Hocevar
interesting
would
pick.
make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like Dale Jr. hasn't dealt with drivers that cause controversy before in his cars.
Yeah.
And then this is at the moment the last super chat from group. Oh, never mind. From we're gonna do this again, aren't we?
Yeah.
From Groovy Goose, thank you for the 5. Jesus, yep, I was right. Will NASCAR try to find a more secure communications method to prevent what happened to Bubba from happening in the future? Can they realistically find them?
I mean, look, I feel like this is the best option because I mean, if they move to like another thing, we could have something similar to what Formula One has, and like you're not able to listen to the Formula One stuff like that, you know, like NASCAR. So I don't know, like if something, you know, if this happens more consistently, then maybe start talking about it. But for now, nah. It's happened a lot before as far as like fans interfering with like the frequency because it's a public frequency. So
yeah, I mean they have multiple channels that they can kind of switch between, which I think often helps solve the problem.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's such a huge like money making part of it too. Like racing electronics is such a huge partner and part of NASCAR at this point. They would be screwing themselves by telling them that they can't rent and sell anymore.
All right, Pelot has went to the lead now, 55. So thank you for that one. We won't read that one just because, well, we just sort of mentioned it. But looking at some of the other super chats here, Austin did say full disclosure for 5, by the way. Full disclosure, I did say in my super chat that I didn't condone what was said about Bubba. I still don't like him, but his race has nothing to do with it. Completely fine by us.
Yeah. We know.
Gavin, thank you for the 5. What if the Indy 500 and Coke 600 swap series for a year?
They kind of don't want
do it.
They kind of don't want Indy cars back at Charlotte for a reason.
Do it for NASCAR. Tyler McGonigal, thank you for the 5. It was awesome to meet you and Eric. Hope you liked the gifts. Yeah, it was awesome seeing you. And Byron will probably do pretty good this weekend.
Damn, McGonagall. Yeah. Oh, like from Harry Potter. Like
oh my God, we went through this before.
That's right.
Also,
yeah, great. It was great to see you as well.
Yeah.
And he also said here for 5, he said, also, I just got here. If you didn't tell the guys, you should tell them what I had you do. Yeah, so we had a bit of a sparring match before on a show about William Byron back and forth, all in good fun. And we talked. That. So he brought me a William Byron diecast and had me sign the windshield. So I signed Jarrett Lundberg, Ice, and then put Willie B fan.
Oh, that's cool. That's
all in good fun. All in good fun.
It's funny.
Napa Racing Fan 927, thanks for the 2. Thanks, Danny and Darian, for A+ rant and video on Bubba.
No problem. No problem, man. He does a bit of trolling. That's a fact.
Maybe I need to go in and do a full video myself.
And honestly,
how I felt about that.
Hey, you know what? I feel like Danny's rant is clip channel worthy, maybe.
Yep.
So you want to put
that, clip that, upload that.
Put that up there.
We'll clip that.
We'll definitely get a list of those to put up through the.
It might not be that long, but sure, put it up there.
Kylito's Corner, thank you for the 2. Put I am Groot. So thank you. And then
Groot.
GN NASCAR fan 24 for 5. There was a fake air traffic controller in Berlin, Germany a few years ago. It took them 6 months to find him with triangulation equipment for radio waves.
What the hell?
What a fun fact.
So did this guy just keep doing this for months and months and months,
That's what it sounds like.
thinking he wouldn't get away with it?
That's what it sounds like. Damn, could have gotten someone killed, actually. That's pretty serious. Damn, some serious stuff. Damn.
Like that's next level trolling. You're messing with real life stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Next level trolling.
Well, you know what that
Almost
reminds
killed someone.
You know what that
Yeah.
reminds me of is the Frank Asiana Flight 214 memes. Do you remember
Oh,
that one?
my
Do you remember the names of that one? Yeah, it was not a. I can't believe they read that on a national news.
Yeah.
report.
Oh my god.
Well, we know Scott Dixon's the pick for sure.
All right. Sorry, chat. You gotta go Scott Dixon.
Yep, that's a wrap. That's over.
Oh my god. Yeah, so we'll put Dixon in right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to end it off, doesn't it?
How many
Yeah.
how many 500s has Dixon won?
One, 2008, and
Just
one.
one? I thought he
Yeah.
had two. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
so-
studying when we were at the Indy Museum a couple of years ago. I remember studying. They had the trophy there on display, and I was studying all the
He's-
faces that they have molded onto it. And I swear I saw multiple Dixons because he
He's-
looked like
he's-
Willem Dafoe.
He's won on the road course, so
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what. Maybe I'm getting that mixed up.
Tyler followed up really quick for 5. Last thing, my dad said he liked the truck race more and thought the cup race was boring. Kind of sad about that.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
it is
truck-
sad, but I think
yeah.
we all kind of agree on that.
Yeah, yeah. we
Yeah,
agree.
unfortunately. But overall, though, the vibe was amazing. I mean,
Mhm. It looked
everything.
awesome.
From what Jeff said, the tweet up was the largest ever.
Oh yeah, it looked huge.
It looked big from what I saw. I was just going for like, who do I recognize? I was like, oh, there's Jarrett with Noah and Peter.
Yep. I just sort of like gravitated to them, and then
Yeah.
and we just sort of stayed
I'm-
somewhere on the outskirts.
I was surprised you wore your usual hat and not the red North Wilkesboro hat that I got you.
I should have. I wanted. That's like been my signature that people like confuse
Yeah.
His
me with.
signature.
They
And
not
I
recognize
wanna-
him right away.
Yeah, and I ever since I shaved, it's like Clark Kent and Superman, where it's like just one change and no one recognizes me. So
I did
Yeah.
see you were in your quarter zip that said the Iceberg on it, and I was like, dang, he's probably hot in that thing.
not really.
He
I
was just
I
not
don't-
getting
Wow.
burned for the third day in a row.
second. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
My bad. Yeah.
Eric, should I tell the story of why I got to the truck race late? It wasn't for my negligence.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
So-
yeah.
So Eric and Slap both have been texting me where they're staying, and I'm like, okay, I'll go there. To which one or whatever. Well, my reception was terrible out there, but I was running late, because the telephone lines in front of my hotel exit went down. I don't know if it was windy or a storm came over overnight, but they were
Sabotage.
down, and they were like still. You could hear them zip zapping around. So I had to wait instead of leaving at like 9 a.m, whatever, from my hotel. I had to leave at like 11, and I get there late. And I will say, going over the hill and seeing those full stands, that old ass looking track, and everyone just like having a great ass time with clear skies, everything's great. I thought I was time traveling back into 1996. It was amazing to see. So yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
but
All right.
I think that covers it. And I think, is it Willpower is their pick?
Yeah. Oh no.
Dixon?
Dixon.
No,
Dixon.
Scott
Dixon.
Dixon.
Yeah, Scott.
Okay,
Dixon.
sorry. I read I'm way up on the chat. It's all off for me.
Oh,
I
you
just
good.
saw Power, but all right. So it
Power
looks,
lines.
Yeah, that's probably what's on my mind. All right, that's gonna be it. So
All right, congrats, chat. You got
Yeah.
Scott Dixon.
Yep. He
Well,
hasn't
play-
won since
play-
2008. Let's see how it works for you.
Please, no one send one last second because it's not going to do good. We're about to be done.
Yeah.
uh,
We're good.
well, you can join us next week on May 31st, last day of May, as we will be on Danny's channel for the podcast, going over the greatest weekend in motorsports or day in motorsports, as well as, rain and maybe not
We-
Netflix.
We
Yeah, we'll see.
started the podcast in May on my channel. We're ending in May on my channel.
Bookend.
Perfect.
Nice.
And if the race ends on Wednesday, don't be surprised based on the
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah, we might have a fresh race to talk about.
yeah. You never know. Yeah.
And we'll be going over Gateway as well as anything that comes up. Probably, if the rumors are right, probably the Josh Berry announcement to the 4. A lot of good stuff. And 65 through 61 on our top 75 list. But
Mhm.
fellas, I think that about covers it.
Yeah, so much for being a shorter show tonight.
Well,
So much
there
for
were
that.
a lot of there were a lot of super chats outside.
Hey, I love it. I
Yeah.
love the fans shouldn't send all this
Appreciate
stuff.
the
I love it.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it wasn't just the IndyCar picks. It was a lot of people just wanting to have good discussion. I like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I love this, man. I love it. I love it.
Well, I think that covers it, right? We
Yeah.
out of here.
Yep.
Yep, we're good.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Yep.
See y'all next time.
It
Yeah.
gonna rain.
You go,
That's the
Goodbye.
front tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the copy? Right foot down. We had to go flat. Unbelievable, man. Way to keep your hand in it. Holy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. It's your pace. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Look great. Oh, ridiculous, man. Holy